Leoha.
Leoha.
Wait, it's so cute when you say it. Hello, hello. Howdy, partners.
Shioha.
Shioha. Shioha. How are we sounding? We had a sound check yesterday, so I think everything should be okay sounding, but just in case, you never know. A fresh reset sometimes just fucks everything up for no reason, so never know. Sounding good. We're good. Nice glasses. We are both your senseis today. Yes. Please refer
Soon
to
to
us.
be senpais.
Yes. Oh, yes. Potentially soon to be senpai. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about VTubing, about corporate VTubing, about regular VTubing. But actually, thank you so much for the super chat, and also just in general. Any kind of advice we could give about auditions, about like pros and cons about working for a company versus being indie, all of that stuff. I was gonna do it by myself, but then yesterday after she and I finished our call, we started just talking about random stuff and we're like, oh shit, this is actually really good content for tomorrow's stream.
Yeah.
We were just blabbing on, so I was like, okay, let's do this live. So I invited her in and she graciously said yes. So if you're not familiar, I am Leora. I'm from I do not represent anybody. I represent myself. I'm from VNU, which is a VTuber company under Maro Studio, if you're not familiar. And this is
Shiicho from Production Kauai Gen 2.
Gen 2. Yeah. We are currently, VNU is currently holding auditions for Generation 2. So there is an open audition right now. It's ending, I think, next week or at the end of this week. So I wanted to make this stream not just for those who need help auditioning, because I'm assuming a lot of you guys have already, if you guys are interested, you might have already applied. And the same goes for Kauai, because they just had their Gen 3 auditions. So you may have already applied and you might be looking like to refine your audition in the future, or you might be even thinking about whether corporate life is for you or not, because it is not for everyone. Yeah. So we wanted to talk a little bit more about that. But before we get started, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that nothing that we say on this stream nothing, absolutely nothing, is a representation of our companies or of their opinions. It is purely based on our own experiences, thoughts, opinions, and anything that comes out of my mouth is just my opinions and thoughts, and anything that comes out of She's mouth is her opinions and thoughts, and is no way or form representative of anything that VNU or Production Kauai thinks or feels. Yeah.
We're just gonna blab.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep talking, and hopefully you have a good time and learn a thing or two, you know. Yeah. So that is the most important. Yeah, the TOS. You gotta, everyone, are you guys ready to sign your names that you agree to this waiver? It's like have you ever watched what's that movie, The Human Centipede? No.
Oh.
Yes, Human Centipede, not the movie, but the South Park episode about Human Centipede.
Oh no, I haven't.
It's basically like everyone agrees to like the terms and services of like Apple's new update in South Park, and then they all just don't read it and they click accept, and then they don't realize that they have signed themselves up for a Human Centipede experiment, so they all because they didn't read the fine print, they all agreed to be a part of Human Centipede. Anyway.
That's awful.
Have you seen the actual movie though? I haven't seen the movie.
No, I haven't actually. I was I definitely wouldn't have been allowed to watch it like when it came out.
Yeah.
And so,
same.
but my cousin told me it was about, and I was horrified.
That's why I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
I do watch a lot of horror movies, but that one just sounds like not scary, but gross. Maybe I'll watch it one day, but I didn't feel like drawn to watch it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is a pretty gross premise. I mean, I can't imagine like the conference room that when they were pitching the idea, you know?
I know. Yeah. It's not even like the sewing part that grosses me out. It's like everything else. You know what I mean? It also grosses me out. What are you gonna eat? That's the part that gets me so
It
bad.
got 2 more movies. So there's 3 Human Centipede movies.
Oh my god! Did they just make more centipedes? Like,
yeah, is it like new centipedes or is it like the journey?
Is it longer this time?
Ew, no! They just keep adding on to it.
It's a ring now.
It's like the world snake.
Yeah.
It's like eating its own tail, just like a loop.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine, thank you for the super chat. I don't think I want to go corporate anymore.
Make sure you read your contract and know that there's no human centipede portion.
Yes.
If you decide to join a company.
Very, very, very important. Actually, we should actually add a section for contracts too. Like, I mean, briefly, just to kind of provide context. I'm gonna add that here.
Yeah.
I have like a little list of stuff for us to talk about. Okay, so on to the real topic at hand. I wanted to talk firstly about kind of the stages of becoming a corporate VTuber. So typically the stages are you start indie. So you start as your own VTuber on your own YouTube channel. Then you go you audition, you get hired, you sign a contract, then you go into pre-debut stage, and then you debut, and then everything else that follows after that, right? That was kind of the pipeline that I'm familiar with, and I think most people that I know myself have followed that pipeline. But there are rare exception cases where if you're a like different content creator, so you're not necessarily an indie VTuber, but maybe you made, I don't know, like meme videos or ASMR videos.
Yeah. Like any kind of skill that could be applied for VTubing can be you can use to your advantage. So even if you like want to apply and you haven't been a VTuber yet, it's still okay. Like maybe you're a really good artist or a good singer or like a voice actor, or like you just have like some kind of skill that applies, then go for it.
My recommendation personally though is that if you do have one of those skills is that you try streaming, because I think having those skills and being a streamer are like very different, right? You might be like an amazing artist or an amazing singer, but you might just not enjoy the streaming life because you really have to put yourself out there, right?
Yeah, because like when you join a company, it is like a commitment, so you don't want to be like, oh, just like I'm just gonna try, and if I don't like it, just whatever.
Exactly.
You don't want to go into something like that. So,
and you're gonna be bound by contract.
Yes.
Going back to talk about contracts. Yeah, they're not to be broken.
They're a legally binding document. It should not just yeet out of there.
Legally binding.
Yes.
And if you do break contract, you have to be aware that there are consequences for breaking contract. So that'll be different depending on the contract that you have signed, but depending on the contract, you may have to pay upwards of thousands of dollars in damages, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on damages. At the very least, many companies will have you recoup the fees that they have invested in creating your model. So that would be your character design and also the rig, which in most cases, let me know if you think otherwise. I would say a corporate model and rig are like a minimum of $3,000 total, right?
Oh yeah. Probably most likely more than that even.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pricey.
Yeah.
And depending on the contract, it could be a lot more than that. So you don't want to just go into it like, oh, I'll just like leave if I don't like it, because you might not be allowed to. And it's like, yeah, it's just a big deal. So you don't want to do that. Want to make sure it's something that you can commit to.
Yeah, and most contracts, I really doubt that there's any corporate contract that is less than a year. I don't think there are any. A year plus. So in some cases, you have people signing 2-year contracts, 3-year contracts, 5-year contracts. It really depends. So if you are, you're going in with a minimum of a year, dedicating a minimum of your year of your life to be doing something at least 3 to 4 times a week, right? You want to make sure that you actually want to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And as Disaster Mirror has graciously, there we go, mentioned, if you do have any questions, please use the hashtag #LeoRadvice on Twitter, and we're going to do some Q&As at the end. How many strikes do you get? I think that really depends on the company and the contract. And it also depends on your negotiations, because it depends like what is considered a strike, right? Like I don't think that's ever clearly going to be defined to you, what is like you're not doing your job. But you not doing your job will mean that you are terminating or you are breaking contract.
Yeah.
Breaking contract doesn't just mean stuff like, I don't know, maybe in contract it says like I don't know, what's a good example? You cannot, I don't know, let's think of something silly. Like the contract says like you're not allowed to kiss frogs. And then you told on stream, you're like, hey, I kissed a frog yesterday. Then that is, yes, breaking contract. But also your contract might say that you have to stream, consistently and professionally for 3 times a week. And if you are doing like the absolute bare minimum and you're not putting any sort of effort into your streams and all your streams are a mess, the company might determine that you are breaking contract for that. I can't think of any other good concrete examples of that though.
Yeah. Just it kind of depends on your contract, like what the rules are, what you like. Usually it's pretty like clear what you are and are not allowed to do, and if not, definitely ask for clarification. So because you wouldn't want to accidentally break it, of course, and you definitely don't want to personally break it because that's crazy. So like,
that's
so just,
illegal.
Like, make sure it's illegal. It is against the law. So make sure that you like know what you're getting into, and that it's something that you want and something that you can commit to.
Yeah. So it will really depend on your contract, and then it will depend on your staff, what they determine. I think it's very rare for VTubers to get terminated because they're just doing a bad job. Purely because, staff is usually there to help you be a better streamer, right? So they will, you'll have meetings with them and they'll tell you how to improve. So say that you're not streaming well, then staff will give you advice and help you improve as a streamer. But maybe if you I don't know, do everything opposite of what they tell you to do, or you don't do anything and you just consistently are bad, then maybe there might be a problem. But usually I don't think I've seen many cases where streamers' contracts are terminated just because I think it's because most people who sign a contract genuinely want to be a VTuber, right? So they're excited about it. So they're working really hard. Also, James, thank you so much for the akasupa. I will buy something extremely yummy for yesterday and today's akasupa. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, and also I see a question. Again, if you have any questions, please use the #LeoRadvice hashtag on Twitter and we'll get to them later. But just to answer that quickly, I also do recommend streaming beforehand, because not only to see if you'll like it, but you kind of want the minimum equipment. I don't think there's any company that provides you equipment, all of your equipment up front, right?
Yeah, it's possible there could be case-by-case basis, oh, I need this, and they might determine something you need. But to be hey, I'm new and I don't have a PC or anything at all, that might be a lot. That'd be a lot of money to hand out on the company's end, probably.
Yeah, because you're gonna want a PC, you're gonna want probably 2 monitors at least, and then you're gonna want a mic. You need an audio interface, and for VTubing, probably an unknown expense that people don't usually know about is that you need an iPhone. And iPhones are not cheap. I mean, you can get an older model, but an iPhone is kind of a requirement. So, I mean, you can get away with webcam and stuff, but I think most people nowadays use an iPhone.
Yeah, I switched from webcam to iPhone, and it was like night and day. It was so much better on the iPhone. It was so much easier too.
Yeah, and I think in a corporate setting they would expect you. I know there are some companies that will lend you iPhones though. That's like one of the few things that I've seen more commonly being lent to you by companies, but because they care about the quality of the model, right? They want you to look good while you're streaming, so it's very important. But yeah, so you're gonna need a computer with enough RAM and a good graphics card, because it does take a lot of power to stream, and the company's not gonna give that to you.
Especially if you want to play games, like maybe it's like a game that's hard to run, and you have to make sure you can stream it at the same time as well. Like, yeah, that can be a lot on a PC sometimes.
I know there are streamers though that stream off of like laptops, and I'm like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, the few times I've streamed on a laptop when I was like traveling or something, I was like, oh, screw it, I'm just doing a chatting stream. It's so hard to like play a game or something for me.
I did that before too. I totally agree. It's super hard. I mean, unless you have like a really small windowed game, but even then it's hard. Yeah. Anyway, so that is like the recommended pathway. I do highly recommend that, even if it's just for like a month. You don't have to do a full debut. You can be a PNG tuber, just anything. You should just stream for a month, 3 times a week, and see if you can do it. Because you might not be able to do it. You might think that you can do it, but you might realize that you cannot do this. Having to talk for like 3 hours straight for 3 times a week to the abyss is more difficult for some people than others.
Yep. And make sure, like, you could do something even if there was no chat. Because some people would be like, oh, there's more chat. Like, maybe if you're corporate, there's, like, chat's a bit faster or something. But you never know. And you want to make sure you're okay to keep going regardless of who else is talking.
Right. And I've definitely had times where my chat is slower, too. Like, it happens. And sometimes you're streaming at off times or whatever it is. Just a bad day for you. And you just have to get through when there's nobody chatting. You have to chat to yourself, and that's like a skill that you just have to kind of learn. And I think there's no better way of learning than to just try it yourself.
Definitely, yeah.
I was curious, I don't know if you're allowed to answer this, but how long was your pre-debut period?
Let's see. Ooh, I want to say it was maybe about a month. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to like go in and check. But it felt like forever though. It feels like forever.
It feels like forever.
'Cause you're excited and you're like waiting. Yeah.
And you like want to stream and you just can't stream for an entire month or whatever.
I think it's especially hard when like you have senpai and stuff, because you can like, the hardest part for me was like, I got to like talk to my senpai off stream, and like everyone was so nice, and then like I'd like lurk in their streams, but I can't chat yet because I don't exist yet. And I was like, I just want to exist already.
Yeah, you can't like post anything on Twitter or anything either.
It's so hard.
Mura, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate the chat. Those signs of the abyss. Hydrating. Okay, but yeah. For me, my pre-debut period was actually very long. I think mine was close to like 5 months. Because we had some delays since we are the first gen, so obviously it was a little bit more difficult. So the initial plan was 3 months, but it got kind of pushed back. So to not be able to stream for like 5 months is suffering. It's really hard. And again, you have to be dedicated to just waiting that time, because you've already signed the contract. You can't back out of it. Once you sign a contract, it is legally binding. You cannot back out of a contract. That's how contracts work. You can't leave. You can't break the contract. I also highly recommend having like any kind of work experience, like normal work experience, because it's a job. You're applying for a job. It might seem like fun and games, and it is, but it's a job at the end of the day, and you're contracted, you're working for a corporation, you are a worker to a bigger company. It is a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job, and if you don't know how to like work with people in a professional setting, that's gonna be really hard for you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Manej, thank you so much for the super chat. Does the hashtag apply if I'd like your opinion on the kind of content I'd like to make in this indie? You can ask. It'll depend on the question. We will pick and choose, but you can try asking, and I will not answer it if it's something that I cannot answer in the stream. And if you guys have more questions, like I said, please use the hashtag Leroy Advice on Twitter to ask the questions, and we'll go through them all later. Yeah. Anyway, so then you have your pre-debut period, in which, you know, you get to meet your gen mates, you get to know them, you meet your senpais if you have any, you get to know the staff, you get to know your character, you get to know yourself, you get to figure out like how you want to stream, and all of those things. You can break the contract when you pay the cancellation charge. Yeah, and like I said, that's gonna be like, I'm sure there's nowhere that has that for less than $5,000. Nowhere. Yeah. And then you eventually get to debut, and then it's smooth sailing from there, right? It's so easy. Everything's wonderful.
Easy peasy. I can stream with my sleep.
Yeah. As you can probably tell from our laughter, that is a joke. That is sarcasm. That is just in case that went over your head. Just in case that went over your head. That is a sarcastic remark. Once you start streaming, that is the real beginning, and that's when, you know, things get more interesting, but also more difficult in certain ways too. And yeah, so speaking of like pre-debut, I wanted to also talk a little bit about like what does corporate provide for you. So compared to indie, where you do have to gain all of your things yourself, like your asset, your model, your rigging, your layout, your overlay, your logo, there's a lot more that corporate does provide, right?
Yeah. It kind of, yeah, obviously it like depends company to company, but
yeah.
I feel like the most general ones is just like the amount of support. Like you're gonna have a management team to talk to give you suggestions and help you out, and also like just your gen mates and other people in your company to like give you advice, and just kind of like moral emotional support. Like maybe you have a bad day, maybe you feel like you didn't have a good stream, but like kind of like just like having a team around you to help support you and give you suggestions and help you grow is a big part of being a company. So I think it's a best fit for a company when you really want that team.
Yeah.
Like not just, I just want to like be an individual and I just want to be successful, but like really wanting to be a part of a team is a big part of being a company.
Okay, I think this is a really common misconception, but you do not go corporate to be famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's easier to be famous if you're indie. If you are a really good streamer. So if you want to be famous, you need to be a good streamer, right? I'm sure the question everyone is wondering, how do I become famous? That's what everyone wants. And I get that. But if you want to be famous, you have to be a good streamer. Number one. And if you're a really good streamer, whether you're corporate or not, it's not gonna matter. Actually, you'll probably have more success. I don't know if I'm allowed to name drop. I'm not gonna name drop just in case. But there are a lot of successful indie streamers that are much more successful because they are indie and they don't have to pay the corporation a fee for you know, like a stipend or whatever it is that they have to pay them out of whatever they're earning, right? So if you're searching for fame and you think you're a really good streamer, I would say indie is probably the way to go. Like if you know what you're doing, go indie. But if you want that support, you want a team, you want people to stream with, you want friendship, it's really different. It's really different being a part of a team and having people like gen mates that you can kind of talk to and stuff. Having management to guide you and whatnot. It's a very different experience in my opinion. Yeah. Or you can shoot for the really big companies and then get famous. But you're not gonna get famous going to a smaller corporation. I'm just saying
definitely
that now.
Make sure you're aware of like the size of the company you're joining. It's not like, oh, I joined this company, I'm immediately gonna be like 1 million subscribers. Like that's not how it works. And so make sure you really look at the company you're joining and don't be like, well, I only want to be a part of a company if I completely blow up, because like you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like you can't expect that, you know? So make sure it's something that you kind of want regardless.
You have to be like realistic. And if you, for example, if you are applying for Gen 2 or maybe you applied for Gen 3 of Kauai, you have to also understand the existing streamers. So if you're applying to Kauai and you haven't watched a single one of She's streams, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because you should at least watch a couple of everybody in that company's streams to get an understanding of the corporate culture there, to get an understanding of what they're looking for, what the atmosphere is like there, what the talents are like there. You don't want to end up in a company where you don't vibe with the people that are in there. That's like really important, because again, you're going into the company for the support. You're going there for the people. You're not going there to be famous by yourself. Yeah. And so if you're applying to VNU, I do hope that you've watched a couple of my streams. I mean, there's only 2 of us right now, so I hope you've watched at least some of my streams and Lofi's streams, so to get an idea of what kind of company we are. And you're basing your choice to audition for this company for that reason. Is there any, I don't know if you're allowed to say but is there any particular reason why you chose Kauai that you can share?
So basically what happened with Kauai, I was not, I was just kind of like doing my own thing at that point in time. I wasn't particularly applying anywhere, but the CEO actually reached out to me about potentially joining it. And at first I was like, because I hadn't heard of Kauai before actually, I asked my brother if it was a scam, and he said no, it's real. And so I was like, oh. And so then I like looked into the company, and I started watching like my senpai, but they weren't my senpai yet. I started watching them, and I just really, it just kind of got a really good feeling about it. And I saw these girls, and I was like, I could really see myself like being friends with them, and it just like seemed like it just felt right. Like everyone was very, very nice, and I really wanted to push myself as well, and I felt like that would be like a good environment to like learn and grow and be a part of a team. So that's kind of how it happened. It's kind of a weird way for it to happen, but that's really interesting. It definitely came down to like the feeling of it and stuff. Yeah,
I didn't know that, but that's I think that's really important that you felt that way, like you could be friends with the people that you saw streaming. I feel like that's really, really important. And look at you now.
Yeah.
With all of your senpai and your teammates. Yeah. It's awesome. For me, picking VNU, I actually had a couple other companies that I wanted to audition to, but there were a couple companies that in my observations, from what I had observed of the company and how they marketed their talents and how the talents operated and how the talents spoke about the company and just general information that I had seen floating around, I actually didn't have a company that I like really that suited all of my needs. So I had a really long list of things that I wanted from that company and a long list of things that I like would join a company for, because like we've been kind of emphasizing, I really wanted to make friends, and I also really wanted to get along with staff, and I wanted a staff that really cared about me as a person and didn't just treat me like a number, or like didn't just treat me as a disposable marketing pawn.
Yeah, that's really important, to have a good relationship with the management.
Yeah, and I think a lot of companies do see, like the success of certain corporate VTubers, and they go like, oh, this is like easy money, and they just start like pumping VTubers out like a VTuber factory. And then you just see like nobody does well or only a certain amount of people do well, and it's like I don't really want to be a part of that. And so for me, I didn't know anything about VNU, and I applied, and then I went to the interview because I was curious. And one of the things that really made me decide, I mean, there were a lot of factors that made me decide, but one of them was they were like, oh, we really want you to exercise. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we'll give you money in your pre-debut period to exercise, to like go to the gym or do ballet or whatever you want, because we want you to be healthy and we think that's important. And I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was like really just showed how much they cared. And you see a lot of streamers who have really bad health. Because the job that we're doing is we're sitting in front of a computer screen and playing games and talking all day. So
yeah,
a lot of people don't care about their health, and hearing management say that to me and saying that they wanted to do that for me, and they required it, actually they said you have to do some sort of exercise, was some people might see that as a chore, but for me I was like, that's really amazing, and I'm really glad to hear that they care about us as people so much that they want to like throw away they're throwing away their money so that we'll exercise. It benefits them very little if you think about it in the short run, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely good to make sure that they genuinely care about you as people.
They generally care about you.
They generally care about you. They care about you as people, and that I think a good sign when looking at companies, which I think you can see in both Kauai and VNU, is that they like invest in their current talent. Like they don't just, like you said, pump out VTubers and more bodies, more money. It's like, like you got like a new outfit and Kauai is doing like this idol project. Like they're still doing stuff for their current talent, even if they're getting new talent as well. Just like making sure that they're taking care of who they have as well. This is really, really important. Really important.
And speaking of like interviews and kind of getting a vibe from the company, it might be really exciting to get to an interview with a company, but until you've signed a contract, you can bounce whenever you want. So if you have any sort of red flag until you've signed that contract, I would suggest really scrutinizing that and making sure that you want to be with these people for an entire year of your life. Minimum an entire year of your life. So it's like a relationship. You want to just make sure that if there are any red flags, that you really consider those things too. Okay, that is the stages of being corporate. So again, I highly recommend that you stream, even if it's just for a month, even if there's no debut, no model, whatever. Stream as much as you can for 1 month, that you physically possibly can for 1 month, and then see if you still want to do it. Yeah. That is my advice to all of you. Cool. Let's see. What else we have? Pros and cons. We've kind of talked a lot about this already, actually. But why don't we talk more explicitly about pros and cons? So, any particular pros let's start with pros. Any particular pros that you can think of being a part of Kauai, or just corporate VTubing in general?
I guess I kind of already rambled about. The biggest one for me is the support and of other people, and also just I mean, I don't know like everyone's situation, but for me, before I joined Kauai, I only really did one thing. I was very comfortable with playing video games, and that's all I did. And so it was kind of cool to like be in a new place and have people like not forcing me to do anything, but being like, oh, you could try this, and really like supporting me in it. Because like I was terrified of doing chatting streams, and I'd never done one before, and now I like can't shut up. So it's like you can just, it's like a good like environment to have like people around you to like help you try new things, and like I feel like it's really like a good growing environment for me at least. And
I'm sure it's like really encouraging, and I tell this to my stream all the time, but like, I could do anything and they'll clap for me, right? Like they're really supportive, and I appreciate that. But sometimes like the most genuine affirmation or compliments of the people who aren't necessarily rooting for you, right? So like people who are new to the stream or staff who have like a more objective point of view, when they tell you like, hey, you're actually like really good at X, Y, and Z, why don't you try that? You're kind of like, oh shit, am I? Am I good at that? Like really? And then you try it and then it works out really well. So I think that's like a really good point. I think another pro is like for me anyway, I'm very like I want to do a million things at once, right? Like there's so many things I want to do, and staff really helps me like hone in on the things that they think I'm good at, or they will kind of encourage me, like you said, and give me the support. And sometimes because I want to do so many things, I just don't have the time to manage it all. It's like, for example, making a cover song, the amount of work that goes into making a cover song is actually so much, because you have to contact the artist, you have to contact the mixer, you have to contact the video editor, then you have to record your lines, then you have to talk to the mixer to make sure your lines are okay and re-record if necessary. You have to give feedback on the art. You have to also screenshot all of the art or make like drawings, MS Paint drawings of what you want your art to look like. You have to okay all the art. Then once the art's done, you have to give the art to the video editor. Then you have to also give the final mix to the video editor, and then once the video editor is done, you have to double check that it looks good, check for spelling errors, check for everything, and then you have to premiere it, you have to release it, you have to write the description. There's so many things that you have to do to make one cover song, and for me, my goal is to make one cover song a month, and so a lot of that kind of busy work I can kind of push on to staff, which is a huge help, because that means I can work on like 3 cover songs at the same time. I don't have to spend all of my free time working on one cover song, or you know, I can also work on one cover song while working on, you know, new ideas for my stream, or thinking of topics for stream, or researching new games, or even like, this is really precious time, but it's hard to find time to watch other people's streams.
Yeah.
And that's actually super important. I think,
yeah, definitely.
I think people like don't understand like how helpful it is to watch other people's streams, because you know, if you don't watch other streams and it's just you just do your thing all the time, you're gonna run out of ideas.
Yeah.
You have to like take inspiration, you have to like see what other people are doing, figure out the trends, even if it's just your own senpai or Kauai or like other companies or whatever it is. I highly suggest watching a variety of different streams though, like corporate, indie, small streams, big streams, middle-sized streams, you know, your friends' streams, like whatever it is. I think
yeah, that's definitely... I really like popping into my... I feel like it's also just kind of like a camaraderie thing, like being able to pop into like my senpai streams or my genmate streams and be like, hi.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have time to do that sometimes. And definitely, like you said, like all the little things take up a lot of time that you have to do yourself as an indie. Like, I am really bad at ordering art. Like, I never know what I want. I never know who to order it from.
Me too.
And, yeah, and so like they like gave us an art budget, and I was like, oops, I got my phone. I was not using it because I didn't know what the heck to do.
Oh no, use your art budget.
Yeah, so then they were like, we can just order it for you if you want. And I was like, thank God, because I don't know what I want. So they'll be like, okay, we'll get you something you can use. You're playing a lot of like FPS games. We'll get you like a art with a gun. And I'm like, thank you. I don't know how I didn't think of that, but thank you so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Is your art budget specifically for just like fun art, or does that cover like cover song art, or like if you want like a new loading screen and stuff?
For any art really.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cute. That's sweet of them to offer to do that. Because in that instance too, if they saw you as a number, they could have just been like, oh, she's not using it. If you don't use it, you lose it, you know, and they just don't say anything about it. But it's really sweet of them to offer their own time to actually manage that for you.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to find time, and I know somebody asked earlier, but I would say that 90% of VTubers have a day job. either are going to school or have a day job. So they do not do this full time. And so it's really hard because any free time that we have, we're trying to stream or watch other people's streams or prepare a cover song or whatever it is. That it's even talking to management takes up time, right? It's hard to find time for the little things. But anyway, that is a huge pro for me that management is able to do that. They also, I just throw like a million artists at them all the time, and I'm like, I'd like to use these artists someday, and I let them manage like how they want to make like a Rolodex of artists or whatever, like a spreadsheet or whatever they want to make, and that's kind of nice. I don't have to like worry about that. Other pros for both Kauai and VNU, I believe, we have a lot of marketing that the management does for us. So whether that's like putting out advertisements, whether that's making clips, whether that's like tweeting about us or giving us opportunities to collab with other bigger name streamers, or even like I know Kauai does a lot of like all member collabs and stuff. I think those are really cool and a really great way to like get to know other members of your team, you know, and I consider that marketing in a way.
Yeah.
Free marketing.
But
free mark. But I think on the flip side, if you are indie, you can market yourself however you want, right? Whereas corporate, there's a little bit more structure to the marketing. So you don't really get a lot of say, and you don't get to choose how you're marketed, or you don't really get to choose where you're marketing, what you're marketed for, and whatnot. Whereas if you're indie, you can stream with whoever you want as long as they want to stream with you too, right? You can market yourself however you want, but it's a little bit more difficult in the corporate setting. Any other pros that come to mind, Shi? I know we've talked a lot about them already, though.
Yeah, I feel like you talked about like a lot of them earlier.
Kind of covered them earlier. Oh, I would say another pro is like I get more opportunity to work with like some of my favorite artists. Yeah, like normally there's a lot of artists out there, especially Japanese artists, who will not take any sort of commissions from indies, from like randos on the internet basically, and will only take commissions from corporate entities. And you know, for example, my mama is one of my favorite artists, and to be able to have a design by her is really like a dream come true. And it would only be possible because of VNU, you know?
On that same note, being from a non-Japanese speaking person in a Japanese company, it's so helpful. Like I don't have to like some of my favorite artists speak Japanese, and I don't know how to like. I wouldn't be able to like. I'd have to use like a translator, and some of those have gone very wrong for me in the past. So like they can like do it for me.
Yeah, that's true. They can communicate for you and translate for you too.
Yeah.
That's definitely super helpful. Well, we talked a lot about the pros. Why don't we talk a little bit about the cons? And before we go into the cons, I'm going to reiterate, if you have any questions, please use the hashtag LyraAdvice on Twitter, and we will answer them at the end. Yeah, let's go into cons. I think we did go over a couple cons already too, but any in particular that you can think of off the top of your head?
I guess one big one that I did not think about very much before I joined, because I just never crossed my mind. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Is the way, you know, if you join a company, there will be a lot of like new eyes on you, and they might not always be very kind eyes. So just make sure like you're, you know, you could be like the sweetest person in the world, but someone on the internet, like, you know, not everyone's gonna like you, and so you have to make sure like you don't let that get to you. If you know, maybe one day you come across something negative, like make sure that you don't take it very seriously, you don't take it personally. It's just the internet. It's how it is. So yeah. I know I'm a very sensitive person, so I was like, Ouchie. Why?
Oh.
But it doesn't. Yeah, it like you know get used to it and you learn to not take it personally. But just make sure that's something you're ready for as well, like mentally and emotionally.
If you bully she, I will find you. I will find you. Who's saying shit about she? I'll get ready to catch these hands.
Yeah,
but
that's another part that like your friends can support you through as well. Because like if you have senpai, like maybe it's happened that like they've had similar things like so. Yeah.
That's true. I will say that on top of that, and kind of like similarly to what you're saying, I feel like another con is that because you're in a like quote unquote generation, or because you're in a company, and you are a member of a bigger thing, it's much easier for you to be compared, right? Because now people have like a direct comparison, right? So you can constantly be compared to your gen mates. You can constantly be compared to your senpai. There's always gonna be somebody who says like, oh, like Gen 1 was like the OG. They were so much better. Like, why are they like fucking up with Gen 2? Like, Gen 2 is just like so not good. And I hear that about a lot of companies where people will be like, oh, Gen 2 is like so much better than Gen 1. Like, you know, the oldies are like really, you know, fading out into the distance now, aren't they? You know, whatever it is. They like to really pit the members against each other and like to compare members to each other. So I think the bigger your company gets, the more likely that something like that is going to happen, and you just have to be mentally prepared for that. Yeah, or like follower numbers, view count, they'll be like, oh, like look at this person, like they're doing so well, but how come this person's not doing so well? They're in the same company, like they must just not be very good at streaming, like, you know, whatever it is. It's like easy for people to make that direct comparison, whereas if you're kind of doing your own thing, you're not really associated with anybody else. You're associated with whoever you want to associate with, so it's a little bit harder for people to really directly compare you to anybody.
Yeah, and sort of similar, also because you're part of a company, like maybe some person like only likes one girl, but like because your company, they'll like talk about everybody because like you are a group. So that's where that kind of stuff can happen.
Yeah, and I've seen stuff like, oh my god, like girl B is ruining girl A's stream by always like showing up in her streams and stuff like that. Like, I'd rather them just stream by themselves, like stuff like that. And it's like really shitty and horrible, but it's something that you have to understand that is gonna happen, especially when you go corporate, and as the company gets bigger, it's gonna happen, and you're gonna get more haters, and you're gonna get more people comparing you to other people. But I always say, if they have time to hate on you, they must really care about you a lot.
Rent free in the brain.
Yeah, we're living rent free. Truly, it's just you have to kind of take it like, wow, maybe they like really like me. They can't stop thinking about me. Oh my god. So I don't know. Try to find ways to make it a little bit easier for you to deal with it.
Yeah.
Other cons I would say are things like restrictions. I know. So if you guys have not watched I'm sorry, what was the title of the stream where you guys talked about like was it Life at Kauai?
Oh, Life in Kauai.
Yeah.
Life in Kauai. Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the Life in Kauai stream on Reina's channel of Production Kauai. it's she's
Taking
production
over.
now, yeah. God damn it, Kauai. they talk, all the members of Kauai come together and talk about how it is in Kauai, and that'll have a lot more details about kind of the things that we're talking about. But where was I going with this? Fuck.
Restrictions.
Oh yes. I know you guys mentioned the Nintendo restrictions, and you guys, I thought it was really funny how you guys were saying like, if you only play Nintendo games, do not become a VTuber.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
If you
They will take it away from you.
If you only play Nintendo games, please consider a different career path, or just stay indie. I believe if you're really big, like I believe, and I'm gonna name drop here, but Hololive and Nijisanji are the only companies that I am aware of that have full Nintendo permissions.
Like streaming it whenever they want and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And they can stream it as many times as they want. But for both of our companies, we can only stream one game 5 times.
Yes. I didn't know this. I streamed Mario Sunshine and I started it. And then I did 4 streams and I was like, hey, can I get permission for another stream? And then she was like, yes, but this is the last one. You can't play this on your, they only allow you to play it 5 times. I was like, oh crap, I have to beat the game today. It was crazy.
Did you do an endurance stream for your last one?
I don't know how long it was. I think I was fairly close to endgame, so it wasn't awful, but I managed it, yes. But I was like, oh my gosh, I have to finish it today.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Nintendo games, other games, let me see, what any things that you can think of off the top of your head?
For other games, typically, so at least how it works in Kauai, I don't know, it might vary company to company, is if I have a game I want to play, I can just look it up myself and see if there's like posted permissions. Like some companies are like, yeah, stream it, whatever, I don't care. Like Red Barrel's like, just stream our Outlast games, I don't care. But if it's something like I can't find it or something, then I'll put it like on we have like a little spreadsheet and management will go on there and see the game and request permissions. And then usually they're almost always accepted. There are like a couple companies that like don't reply or whatever. But sometimes there's certain restrictions like, oh, you can't monetize this game, or a weird one. I remember, what was it? The horror game about taking pictures.
Fatal
Frame? Yeah, they were like, you can stream it, but unmonetized and not past chapter 10. And I was like, well, I don't want to play if I can't finish the game. So it depends on the company and what game it is, but yeah, different permissions and stuff.
Yeah, I think most companies do opt to not let you monetize it. So, for example, I know all the FromSoft games, so any Souls games, Elden Ring, you can't monetize those, which means that you just can't do you can't receive any ad revenue, but you can receive super chats usually, so you can still get that. But for like, unless you're getting like hundreds and millions of views, you're not making that much money off of ad revenue anyway. So
it's like pennies, like it won't be very much anyway, but
yeah, so it's not a huge loss.
And usually you can find the permissions, like I'll just Google like name of company, stream monetization, like poke around on their website. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, but that's another thing. It's nice to have management that can like look into it for you if you can't find it.
Yeah. For me, I do not look into it. I just ask management to check.
I just do it because I want them fast. I'll be like, I want to play this tomorrow.
That
see
makes
if
sense.
I can.
Yeah. And you guys have like a nice spreadsheet where you list out all the games that you are allowed to play, right?
Yeah, and that's also nice because then we can, we have a big log. So like, say like Reina played a game, I can be like, oh, we have permission for like anyone in Kauai can play it. Some games are like only personal, like Nintendo's like only this person can play it at this time. But a lot of games, it's just like they'll just give permission to the whole company, so I can be like, oh, we have perms for this. I'll play this game. This other girl play. Yeah.
We don't have a diverse enough portfolio yet, so I don't think we have a spreadsheet. But that's a really good idea. We should probably get on that eventually too.
Yeah.
What other cons are there? Oh, I would say another con is like you are restricted to who you're allowed to interact with.
Yeah.
So obviously I can't, even if like my best friend is streaming, she's like streaming on Twitch or something and she's just doing a fun thing, I wouldn't be able to stream with this proverbial best friend.
Yeah. Gotta ask.
Because she's kind of just a random person on the internet. So you have to make sure you have the permissions for that as well. So you can't just like do whatever you want.
Yeah. And depending, like, I know, like, for Kauai, like, they'll get, like, the general okay for, like, a company or whatever. Like, oh, yeah, that's fine. So, like, I eventually, like, I don't have to ask every single individual collab, but I know some people do. But, yeah, it is, like, restricted. Like, I can't collab with, like, boys, for example. Not that I'm, like, trying to, but, like, that's, like, something, like, not allowed.
Right.
You do have to, like, get permission for who you collab with, which is a restriction. When you're indie, you can do whatever you want.
Right. So there's a lot more, as you can tell, the trend here is that there's a lot more general restrictions of what you are and are not allowed to do, whereas when you're indie you can do whatever the hell you want. Like we can't talk about certain political things on stream, right? For obvious reasons. But we can't talk about like our political opinion. Not that I'd want to on stream, but just letting you know that is another form of restriction, and you could get in trouble for breaking those rules, right?
Yeah. So like your social media is still like a professional like profile. Like you don't want to be like spewing like controversial stuff or like causing drama or anything on there. Like you gotta be careful about what you post.
Yeah. Like she said, it does extend to social media as well, not just your stream. And you have to remember that like someone in management is gonna watch all of your streams.
Oh god, I forgot that.
Someone in management, even if it's not live, someone in management is going to watch all of your streams. So you do have to be careful about what you're saying. You can't just say whatever the hell you want. You have to maintain a baseline of professionalism. I'm sure a lot of VNU staff are watching this right now, biting their nails, afraid that I'm going to say something completely stupid.
Let's start a controversy.
I was like talking to my manager and I was telling him, I was like, oh, we're gonna do a stream. She's gonna be in my stream tomorrow. And he was like, oh, okay, what was the stream about again? And I was like, oh, it's the corporate VTube life. And he's like, oh, like what kind of stuff are you talking about? And I was like, like pros and cons of corporate culture. And he was like, cons? He's like, you're gonna talk about cons?
Please don't say something bad. Thankfully, we both really, really like where we are. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Good stream.
I've had not personally, but VNU Entertainment entered the chat.
I thought I wouldn't say anything bad, VNU. I won't ruin your stream. You're right.
Run away. Arrows, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for the helpful info on what VTubing is about. Really helpful in figuring out what to do on the journey to do anything. Looking forward to more successful in VTubing business. Have fun today. Thank you. And Master, thank you so much for the super chat. Can you say management is a meanie?
Oh no, cancelled. VNU was gonna write a twit longer about this.
Oh no, they're gonna cancel me.
Canceling Leora for calling us meanies.
Close the stream. Management heard that. Goodbye everyone, it was a good stream. But it's true, you do have to be careful about what you're saying. And you do have to be careful about what you're talking about in your personal life too, because you don't want to accidentally dox yourself and whatnot too, which I almost did like 5 times this week, and it was panic central.
Never share your screen. Always window capture, never screen capture.
I literally you don't understand, I literally did game capture and it still showed my screen.
Yeah, you told me that. I just freaked out, huh?
I literally wanted to kill myself. I was like, what is this?
Oh no.
I was mortified.
Oh my gosh.
Hina Ojo, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Lyra and Shichu, for your wise advice. Yes, of course. Oh, another con that I just thought of, by the way, is that the con is you don't get to choose your gen mates. Yes, you may choose your senpai. That is true because you were able to see them beforehand, but you cannot choose your gen mates. So you are gonna be stuck with these people until you, as a VTuber, die. And whether you like it or not. And I've heard many stories of other corporations, even the really, really big corporations, where there's a lot of internal fighting and a lot of gen mates don't like each other. But because they're so big, they have to maintain a very professional atmosphere. So you do have to, stream with them and collab with them and stuff,
You can't just be on stream and be like, this person made me mad. Beep, beep, beep. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't let it show. I think that's actually the harder part, because it's easy to not talk shit, but you have to actually pretend to like them, because when you have a full gen collab or something, what are you gonna do? You guys don't get along, but the audience doesn't know that. You have to just suck it up and make it work, and hope that you guys eventually get along or something, but you're stuck with them forever. Yeah, it's basically, it is work life, but I think people don't realize that corporate VTubing is work, and they don't understand because they think, oh, it's so fun and you're playing games and stuff. But you have coworkers that you're not gonna like, that you're not gonna get along with, that you're gonna argue with, and that's just life. When you're in a group of however many people, 5 people or whatever, I would say that 5 is the average for a generation. So let's go with 5. But you're stuck with a group of 4 other random people that you've never met before, and now you are forced to pretend to be best friends. There's always going to be a chance that something can go wrong there. And you might get lucky and you might love all of them. That's like incredible, amazing luck. But I promise you that's not always going to happen.
That's another thing I think is like important to, I think it's really important that you like try to set a good foundation and like get to know your gen mates and stuff, because you do have to spend a lot of time together, and so you don't want to just be like strangers and then you like hop into a collab and like you want to like try to get along and be friends, and then maybe you will make some really good friends. But just like putting in that effort to really be part of the group is really good.
It doesn't stop at just streaming, right? The job doesn't stop there. You have to remember that the job extends into talking to your coworkers, whether that's your management team, whether that's your gen mates, whether that's your senpai, getting along with them, getting to know them, playing games with them off stream. All of that is part of the job. And people don't realize how much time that takes on top of your probably the day job that you probably have, because how else are you going to pay for rent? So I think those are all really important things to remember. And again, when you sign the contract, you're committing to this for an entire year. If you are not a people person, if you don't like making friends, please do not join a corporate team.
Yeah, it will be very hard for you. Also, I don't know if you were done on. I have something. I just thought of.
Go for it.
Also, I think it's also very important if you're going to join to be able to take criticism, and not necessarily criticism either, but like suggestions. If you are someone who maybe you go into a meeting and management's like, maybe you should try this. You shouldn't be like, oh, that's an attack. I'm doing this wrong. They hate my streams. Like, just be like, oh, they're like suggesting you try something new. Maybe you take that advice. Maybe you decide it's not for you, but like definitely being open to suggestions and to help, and not taking it as an attack if somebody tries to suggest something to you is really, really, really important. Because everyone's there to help you.
Super important. You have to remember that your success is everybody's success. Whether that's your gen mates, whether that's your management, you succeeding means everybody is succeeding together, and nobody's there to take that away from you. Everyone wants to succeed with you, and if you are not a team player, please do not join a corporate VTuber company, please. You have to know how to take feedback and criticism, and you have to know how to, want to improve yourself and your stream and want to get along with other people, because that's a really large part of the job. No matter, this is not an attack on, like, I'm not calling out introverts. Like, I'm an introvert. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't get along with other people or that you don't want to get along with other people. Actually, I think introverts make some of the best VTubers too, because I think introverts, a lot of VTuber viewers are introverts, so they do tend to like really empathize with that sort of similar energy too. Yeah. So I don't think that should discourage anyone. I know there are people who I've spoken to who were discouraged from streaming because they're like, oh, I'm too introverted. I'm like, no, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna repeat it one more time, but please put any questions on Twitter with the hashtag LyraAdvice, and then we'll get to it at the end of the stream. Yeah. Okay, any other cons that you can think of?
Not that I can think of.
I mean, there are the other like pretty, I would say obvious, but who knows? Maybe people don't know, but like obvious ones, like you're gonna be restricted on how you can do things too. So like the way that you present things, like your stream description, for example, like your video description, or things like like Twitter, like if you don't like to use Twitter, like you have to use Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not an option. Yeah, it's not an option. You have to use Discord. You have to use Twitter. You have to use whatever the company is using. Like it's not a question. Yeah. Or Slack. Oh my god.
Slack,
I hate Slack.
I use it all the time.
Yeah. Whatever the company is using, you have to use it. It's literally it's a job. It's a job. You can't just do what you want. You have to follow the job's protocols, and you have to follow what the job is using. You have to do what the job is doing, and you have to follow the rules of the job. It's a job. Okay, I think that's enough of cons. I don't think we can think of any more. I don't want to force any more negative stuff here. Let's see, what else do we have? Advice for being a VTuber if you're not one already. Any general advice for getting started for people who've never streamed before,
I would say like you just kind of gotta throw yourself in there. Like it's scary to start, you know. Like I found out about VTubers from my big brother. He showed me them and I was like, that's cool, and he was like, you should do it. And I was like, what the heck? No. And like that sounds crazy. And then like he encouraged me, and then eventually I tried it, and I was literally about to throw up in my debut stream, but I was okay. I was okay, and then like I started loving it. So like it can be scary to like start being a VTuber. You can think like maybe you're not very confident in your skills, like, but just starting, and then you'll grow into yourself as a streamer for sure. So you're never gonna feel exactly ready to start. You just gotta kind of throw yourself into it if it's something you really want to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, again, I know some people want to have like the perfect indie debut, and I think a lot of the really successful indie VTubers actually started out as like PNG tubers who just put themselves out there and just started streaming, or even as like face cam streamers. Like you just stream. That's my number one advice, is stream and watch a lot of streams. I think it's really important to like understand the culture that you're getting yourself into, because it is a completely different culture. There's a lot of different lingo. There's a lot of different things that you need to understand before joining. And if you watch other VTubers, you'll kind of see how they do things. You'll kind of it's like free tips, and it's fun. Yeah. And just have fun with it. Enjoy yourself. It's not easy when you're starting, but you just have to do it.
Yes. This is like a very, very small note. It's technical. From experience, please just start with OBS. Just start with OBS. Don't use Streamlabs, because you won't be able to get away until it doesn't work anymore. Just start on OBS, please. I've only just broken away, and life is so much brighter.
You heard it here, folks. Use OBS. Nothing else. Use OBS. And yes. I think there's a big learning curve. Like you may think that there's like things that you have to do, like assets and like overlays and VTuber model and rigging and stuff. Don't even think about that, because there's so much that you need to learn in terms of just streaming software in itself. How does YouTube work? How does Twitch work? Are you going to stream on YouTube? Are you going to stream on Twitch? Why are you streaming on YouTube? Why are you streaming on Twitch? Are you going to use Twitter? Which you should. If you're a VTuber, you should 100% use Twitter. Do you have any connections already in that world? Are there any people that you can like talk to make connections? And just that is gonna take you a really long time.
Yeah.
Figuring out what you want to stream, how you want to stream, you just gotta do it and try it. And then once you get in the groove of it, then you can have your debut with all of your pretty stuff, and nobody will be the wiser, because you'll be like a pro because you've already done it.
Yeah. Also, when you first start, it can also be scary if like you don't know anybody. Like I didn't know any VTubers. Like I just kind of started, but you like just reach out to people. Like just do it. Like you can just be like, oh look, we both have this. We both have this theme or something. That's pretty cool. And then like boom, friend. Like it's like you gotta talk to people if you wanna like have friends, and it can be really hard. And I know I'm not one to say it because I'm not the best at it either, but
me neither.
Don't be scared. People are nice. People are nice generally.
I don't even remember how we became friends, but I think it was just
I think I was just like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this on you. And you were like, thanks.
Like, we both have white hair. Look at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we became best friends.
Exactly.
Yeah. You do have to, as an indie, more so than a corporate VTuber, you do have to put yourself out there a lot more, and you do have to make a lot of connections. That's very, 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 very important. Making the connections, getting to know people, and it's a slow climb, right? In the beginning, you cannot reach out to somebody who has like 1 million subscribers and expect that they will talk to you because they will not. You've literally, streamed like once or twice in your life, or maybe never at all, so you can't expect for them to give you the time of day. But once you kind of build your audience, meet people who are in your similar range, and work towards that together, then maybe one day you can approach the streamer with 1 million views and become their friend too.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not like being too like nihilistic about things. I'm just trying to be very realistic, because I do think a lot of people have very unrealistic expectations. They think like if you become corporate, you become instant famous and you get all the money and all the bitches and
That's exactly what happens.
It's just not the avenue for that. So I don't want people to be coming in for the wrong reasons,
Want to make sure you know what you're getting into before you sign a legally binding contract.
Yes, before you sign a blood binding
read the terms and conditions so you don't end up in a human centipede, you guys.
You know what'll happen if you don't read your contract.
Yes.
You do have to be careful. Please read your contract. The contracts are legally blinding. It is illegal to break a contract. Illegal. A lawyer will come after you. A lawyer. A real professional lawyer.
We're gonna beat it into you guys.
Yeah.
They're real.
It's real.
It's not just an adult word. They're very, very real.
It's very,
and they're made of paper, and sometimes they're electronic, and they're very real.
They're extremely real. Phoenix Wright's gonna come after your ass, so be careful. You do not want to get mixed with a lawsuit. You really don't want to. You don't want to deal with lawyers. You don't want to get mixed with a lawsuit. You don't want to break a contract. You cannot.
Aside from that, like your reputation, like if you want to like continue streaming, like you don't want to be known for doing something like that.
Yeah. Breaking a contract is not illegal. Civil law is not criminal law. Okay, wait. It's illegal in the sense where you can be prosecuted for it.
You're not gonna get thrown into jail.
No, you're not gonna go to jail. But
we'll be in big trouble. You're gonna get a very strict talking to and a lawsuit.
A lawsuit. Money is involved. It's not just, you're not just gonna get a slap on the wrist. It's like you're gonna have to cough up a really large sum of money, and it's gonna be sued, not prosecuted. I'm sorry, I don't know any legal terms. I've never broken a contract before, okay? I read my contracts.
We don't want to find out.
What's the name of the other VTuber? This is She Icho from Production Kauai. Her channel is linked in the description box below, so definitely go give her a subscribe afterwards too, or right now even.
Yay!
Gotta do your research and get brought to court at least once. I don't want to go to court.
It'll be like 60 days in, how they go undercover in jail, except we're like pretending that we broke a contract.
Except we're like in jail and like nobody there is there for breaking contracts, and we're like just with a bunch of criminals. Like, wait, when do they talk about the contract? Crime tubers, it's time. Break the NDA for science. No! Oh yes, we have not spoken of NDAs. Do you guys know what NDAs are? Non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement. You have to, everybody signs one when you join a corporate VTube company, and you're not allowed to talk about a lot of stuff. That's what you're signing, another contract, yet another contract to tell people that you promise, you swear on God that you will not leak secret information. Like, for example, what Gen 2 looks like in VNU and what Gen 3 looks like in Kauai. We're not, even if we knew, we cannot tell you what they look like.
Not allowed.
Yeah, or show you any images, or tell you who they are, or tell you anything about them, even if we knew. We cannot.
Can't hand out our social security number and give everybody our identity.
Oh shit.
Non-disclosure. It has to be a secret.
Oh shit, I already did that though.
Oh no. It's okay, I'll send you mine too.
I did that yesterday, shit.
I posted it on Craigslist.
What does Gen 2 look like? They look like anime girls. Surprise.
They look like cuties.
Super cute anime girls. So yeah, for example, when I was signed on to VNU initially, I signed an NDA saying that I was not allowed to tell anybody that I had signed on to VNU. So I couldn't tell my friends. I couldn't tell people who knew me from before. I couldn't tell my coworkers from VLKR offices. I couldn't tell anybody. It was a secret.
Secret.
Yeah. So that is what an NDA is. It is very important. That you have to sign it, and not even your mom. I probably did tell my mom. But it's okay. She didn't know what it was. I probably didn't even tell her the company name. I just said like, "Hey mom, I got signed into an agency." So told your mom canceled. Gen 2 designs are already made. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. But yeah, so those are kind of like general advices for, if you're not already a streamer or VTuber, just do it. It's the Shia LaBeouf meme. Just do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Advice for auditions. I know we both kind of had very different experiences. So do you want to talk about your audition experience first? I know you kind of got scouted, it sounds like, right?
I got scouted, but I still like sent in stuff. Like they had still like made it like a formal audition. But I was like invited. They're like, we think we want to work with you. Would you audition? And I was like, okay. But it was still very nerve-wracking. And I think the hardest, I don't know exactly what VNU application looks like, but typically you have to do like some kind of like mock stream or something. That was probably the hardest part for me because I really like talking to chat, and there's no real chat in a fake stream. And so I just kind of like word vomit. You just kind of like talk and pretend there are people there listening to you. Yeah. And it can feel unnatural. I think it can be easy to get in your head and become like stiff and scared. So like, take a walk, do whatever, like play a game, relax, and then just pretend you're just streaming to, if you're just streaming right now already, pretend you're just streaming to like your regular audience. Like you want to feel comfortable. So like it can be hard to get in that headspace, but really like start early on your application if you can, so that you can really take the time to get comfortable and get a good video going.
Did you have like an audition video where you had to like introduce yourself and stuff?
Yeah, so for Kauai, it was basically like there's the introduction and then like a mock stream, and then like you could attach any additional videos. I think it's really nice when they let you attach like clips, because then like they get clips of you being comfortable, because like you just like pull them from stuff you already did. Right. That's kind of what it was like for us. And then there's usually like some pretty long written portions. Right. Well, as long as you want to make them, but I just write a lot.
I also write a lot.
Like an essay for each one. Okay.
Yeah. Let me tell you about my Oshi. But yeah, I would say that if you are making an audition video, whether it's for Kauai, whether it's for VNU, whether it's for any other corporation, I know it's like really cheesy, but like just do your best to be yourself and try to sell yourself. It's kind of like an interview at a company. You want to show, or like if you've never worked in a company before, it's like what are those essays, those college essays that you write for college? personal
I don't know, just
statement.
like an application. Yeah.
Personal
Talking about yourself, like
yeah, you want to basically brag about like the things that you're good at and the things that you're interested in, and like talk about like, hey, sometimes I draw, sometimes I sing. Like maybe you can say like, oh, I'm not really good at them, but I really want to improve, and kind of show them like what you're capable of, and show them all the different things that you're capable of, because everything that you can do is a potential asset for them.
Yeah. Anything you can use for stream, talk about it. Sell yourself. Tell them what you can bring to the company. And also a good thing I think is, you know, I'd hope that if you're applying for a company, you really like looked into the company and like the company, you know, like that one specifically. So like you might want to talk about why you specifically want to be a part of that company.
Yeah,
like,
that's good advice.
Not just a general application, like I'm just throwing myself out there to like everything. Be like, this is what I like about this company and this is why I think it's a good fit.
Right. I think that's really, really, really solid advice, is mentioning why it is that it's this company and not another company, because there's so many companies out there now, and they don't want someone who's just throwing their application at whoever sticks, right? So you wanna really tell them, like, you know, tell them that you understand and you've researched about the company too, and so they know that you're really serious about signing this very legally binding contract.
Yes.
They don't want to waste their time on somebody who's gonna bail on them in the middle too, you know what I mean? Waste their time and money.
Yeah.
They have, so I think people need to understand that a company has so much to lose by terminating or graduating a member, a talent. People think that it's like, oh, the company's like so horrible for doing it. Like as soon as someone's graduated, they're like, oh, the company must have done something awful. Do you know how much more the company has to lose by graduating somebody? How much money, how much time, how many resources? No matter how much you want to side on the streamer, I get that, and I totally sympathize for that. And of course, if I were graduated for whatever reason, I would want you to sympathize for me too. But at the end of the day, you do have to understand that it's not even just the money, the time, but also the reputation of this company is now gonna go down because they graduated somebody. So you have to realize it's a huge, huge, huge decision for a company to graduate somebody or to terminate a contract. Especially if they're not asking for the contract breaking fee, whatever that's called.
And especially like, I mean, like even if you are someone like maybe you didn't like management, blah blah blah, like you, the company as a whole, like, you know, people like you said, they'll be like, oh, like the company must be bad because this person graduated or whatever, and like that also affects like possibly like if you made friends with your gen mates, they have to deal with the repercussions of that. So like it does like affect a lot of people if you decide to just leave or to break a contract. So like it's, you really want to commit to it, because you know maybe by some odds like you do like get off easy, then everybody else has to clean that up and deal with the repercussions of that. So it's really important to think about.
Totally agree. Also, Kay, thank you so much for becoming a member. Please give them lots of love. Thank you. Try to think of other audition tips. I have one that I heard through the grapevine. This was an audition tip for a very large company, because I knew somebody who was applying for a very, very, very large company. The tip was that if you're making an audition video, basically make it like a mock debut stream. That's what I heard.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I like that.
So just pretend like you're doing a speed run of a debut stream. So you go, you know, hi, like my name is blah, blah, blah. And like I do this and I do that. I really like this. I really dislike that. And that'll make it a lot easier, because then you don't have to like think of a scenario. You don't have to be like, how am I going to fill 5 minutes? 5 minutes will go by like this, like super fast. I snapped. You couldn't hear it, but I promise I snapped.
I believe you.
But yeah, I would suggest, you know, trying to do like a mock mini debut stream, and you'll find yourself with those 5 minutes going by really fast, and it's gonna be a lot easier to stay in character while still talking about things that actually are relevant to you. So I could still, you know, I could be Biora Valkyria and and still talk about like, oh, I really like milk tea and I really like to draw and sing, even though I'm not very good at it, and I can still like talk about all of that stuff without breaking character of Biora Valkyria.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I like that.
But I don't know if it works for all companies, but that is something I heard through the grapevine. Not the grapevine, the grapevine, for the larger companies. So I think I would suggest doing that for any sort of interview. I don't think there's anything bad to come from doing that.
Yeah.
Any other audition tips?
I don't know. I mean, I saw something like people asked about like being in character. I think they probably do want to see you in character for like your audition and stuff. I think for interviews usually you're just like talking as a person. And so everyone's just, like about yourself, you know, like who is this person that's going to be working for our company. So yeah,
I think for staying in character, I think you also have to think about like your strengths. Are you good at like role playing? Are you good at playing a character? Are you good at acting? I think if you are good at that, you have some VTubers out there, I'm not going to name drop, but there are some VTubers out there who really make so much from just acting. Like that's their main draw for their audience, is that they are pretending to be this character, or not pretending, but you know, acting this character, and they're just like really into it, and people get really into it too. And I think if that is your strength, you should play into it. But if that's not your strength and you suck at acting, like me, I'm really bad at acting. I wouldn't try to push the character too hard. Like if I'm like a robot character, I'm not gonna talk like this the entire
Play the Mr. Krabs Robo song.
oh actually, wait, does this work? Hello, does this work? Hello.
Yeah.
My name
Robora!
is Biora Valkyria. But again, you have to understand yourself. Like, what are you good at? What is your selling point? Are you good at acting? Are you not good at acting? Yeah. Make sure the company knows that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it for the audition tips. Shall we go on to the hashtag? So hashtag submissions are closing right now. I'm gonna go into the hashtag now. We have a lot of questions, so let's get started. First one is asked by Fee. Thank you for the question. The question is the model design already made by Mama, or can you request on how the model will look like? I believe this is very, very dependent on the company.
Yeah.
I've seen some companies that even show the model before. Wait, didn't Kauai do that? No, Kauai didn't do that.
Only for Gen 1.
Oh, Gen 1. Yeah, where they show the model first, and then they go, these are the people that we are recruiting if you feel like you are fitting one's models. I think in the Kauai Gen 1 audition, they even asked, like, which model would you want? Or, like, which one do you think you'd be suited for?
So for Kauai, typically it does do that. Like, our models are pre-made. You don't make them yourself. So they definitely are, like, trying to, like, fit people to something that they like and something that, like, fits them. So, like, they would have us, like, rank your top 3. And then I believe Gen 2, like, we all got our first pick. So...
Oh, nice.
Like, there was like say in which like one, but we didn't design them ourselves.
Right. They were already pre-designed. For me, for Gen 1 of VNU, we got to design all of our characters. I am a big fan, I keep saying, of my mama. So I told my mama, go buck wild, do whatever the hell you want. And then she gave me something very yabai, so I had to ask her, okay, go less buck wild, a little, can you tone it down a little bit? And then that's how I ended up with what I have now. But I did tell her, for example, that I wanted to be a Valkyrie. And we did have a general framework though, so we were told that we could choose like between a couple categories. So I chose, it was like, what was it? Like almost like RPG classes, or like, so it was like fairies and elves and stuff, like D&D classes almost, which is why Lofi is an elf, the twins were fairies, and I chose a knight, But I wanted to make it a little more interesting because I was like, just the knight is kind of boring. So that's why I went with Valkyrie.
Super cool.
Yeah, and so we got a lot of say in how our models looked and our model designs. However, I believe for Gen 2, it's gonna be a little bit different because there were some logistical issues in doing that, because obviously if you're designing from scratch with your entire with your entire generation, all of your talents, it takes a really long time to get a final image, and I think that's part of the reason why we had some delays and stuff too. So I believe for Gen 2 it will be, they get some input and they get to choose certain things, but it won't be completely from scratch like it was for us. But I think again it's very different by company, and I think most companies do not let you choose. They do not let you choose at all. They will assign you a character, and most companies already have the characters in mind from the get-go. So that is 90% of the corporations that I've seen. So it's cool that Kauai lets you choose at least too.
Yeah. Also, I feel like just in general with auditions and like for like every company, I hear a lot of people ask like, is it possible I can keep my model? Like I have hardly ever heard of that happening. So you have to be able to let go. You gotta be able to let go.
Yeah,
and
that's a really good point.
New character.
I think there's a lot of risk. So just to put it into context, why that's the case is that for a company, in the company's point of view, it's very risky to take on an existing character, right? And part of that is because you do have to, first of all, buy the IP off of the person. And 90% of the time, they're already so attached to the character, they're not going to want to sell you the IP for the character. So then you have to have another contract that states the terms of how much of the company has leeway on this character that's not their own IP. And it also, I don't want to make this sound bad because it does sound a little bit bad in my head, but it gives the talent a lot of power to leave. Like you don't have if you have an existing model, so say I'm Leora and I'm an indie VTuber and I want to join Kauai as Leora, for the company there's a lot more risk for me to actually just like get up and leave, because I'm like, well, I already have my own character, I don't have any attachment to anything, like fuck you guys, I'm just gonna bounce and do my own thing again. And they don't own anything for your character. So there's a lot less stuff they are allowed to do with it, depending on the kind of IP contract, sharing contract that they have with you as an indie VTuber. And also there's a lot more risk associated with it. So that's why I think most companies do not opt to do that unless there are very, very special circumstances. And I think that's also why you're more likely to leave a corporation and buy out your model. A lot of companies do allow you to buy your character out at the end. If you want to graduate and you guys both, are not agreeing on your terms, you can buy out your model, but it's going to be very, very, very expensive. Like probably over $10,000. It's a little bit different than breaking a contract.
Yeah.
Because they're losing a lot too by you leaving and buying out the model. So get ready to shell out over $10,000 if you want to keep your model too. So yeah. That is that. I hope that answered your question. Thank you so much for the question. Next question we have is from Edwin. Thank you for asking questions here. We have 2 questions here. One is, what do you do when people ask you about your job/hobby? Do you explain what VTubing is or say something else? What do you say?
I work at a puppy cafe.
Do you really tell people that?
I'll tell people like I was at work. I work from home today.
No. I think they mean the opposite. Like if you are in real life,
out in the real world, touching grass.
You're touching grass.
Oh, I keep it a secret. I don't want everyone to know that.
What if like somebody was like, "What were you doing yesterday?" Like, what do you say?
Well, if it's somebody that already knows, then I'll tell them. But if it's someone that does not, I'll just be like, "Oh, I was just hanging out, play some video games."
Yes, you're not lying.
Yeah.
For me, I tell people I freelance. Yeah, I'll be like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm like busy with freelance stuff, and that's what I say when I talk about VTubing to people who don't know. Because it's not wrong. I'm working.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's like sometimes you just don't want people to know because like maybe they like don't like anime or anything, and then sometimes it's like also like a privacy thing, like a safety thing. Like I can't just go around like so like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, like I post it on my car or something. Like, I can't do that. It's not safe.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely like a pick and choose, and it is an NDA issue too. So you really want to share with people that are like probably really close to you. It's funny because one time I had my manager like ask like, "Oh, have you told like your friend about it?" And I was like, "What? No. Why would I tell them?" They're like, "Oh, I figured you would have." I was like, "That's breaking NDA." Does your friend know you're a VTuber? I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I'm a freelancer.
Freelance Valkyrie.
Okay, we have a second question here is, what has been difficult, annoying since starting VTubing that you didn't expect before? Audio issues.
Technical issues, yes. That's the worst part. The worst part. If I could just have somebody like live in my walls and crawl out to take care of my tech issues and go back, I would be smooth sailing, but I do not.
I think general tech issues, usually I'm pretty good at troubleshooting, but fucking audio issues, I don't know why. I just like don't understand it. I cannot comprehend how anything audio works. And one time we had like an audio guy come in to help set us up like pre-debut, and he would just like go into our computers and like set everything up like ba 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 ba. And I was literally like, what are you doing? I cannot follow. Like normally when somebody like does things on my computer, I'm like, okay, yeah, and I like learn and I can apply that next time. But when the audio guy was doing stuff, it was like fucking black magic.
like yesterday. Remember yesterday I had like double alerts on during our collab? I today did not touch a thing, not a single setting, and it was normal again.
Dude,
I'm like,
what the fuck?
What? What was wrong? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
drives
so
me
frustrating.
crazy.
That's the worst part.
Yeah. Or like the other day I was trying to stream this game called Let's Build a Zoo, and OBS just would not let me use game capture. But the worst part is that before I started streaming, it worked, and I checked that it was working, and then I turned on stream and I went to my game screen, and all of a sudden it wasn't working, so I had to do window capture, and I was literally like seething. I like could not.
Aw, man. Jeez, yeah. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. Stuff just like decides to not work for no reason sometimes.
Yeah, it just drives me absolutely crazy. Anyway, that's the hardest part of VTubing is tech issues. Okay, next question is from Shadow Liger. How was it making new friends with coworkers, staff, and other VTubers? You want to go first, She?
I think it's so much fun, especially at first with management I was very like, ooh, big scary, not that they like were mean or anything, but like just like intimidating because it's like it's management. And with the girls, they were like thankfully like very, very friendly. Like Raina was in my DMs within like half a second of me like joining. So that was really nice. Like it was really, really nice to get to know everyone, like on their streams, and like we like talk every day, you know, in like a group chat. And then management, like, you know, after like being around them, I'm like, oh, these are actually just like normal, nice people, and like joke around and stuff. And it's like, I feel like it took more getting used to it with management, just because I had this mentality of like, management, professional. I cannot joke. And then like I was like, oh, this is fine. They're joking too. Like, yeah, it's really nice. It's like good to build a little family, you know?
Yeah, I was mentioning this to my chat before, but you know, I generally got along with management okay, and then I actually went on a trip to go to the VNU office in Korea last month, and I got to meet all of them in person, and we went like drinking and karaoke, and it was like just so much fun. And I think like I was very overwhelmed with like love, and just like I felt like really cared for, and I was like, wow, these people are really, really, really amazing. And it finally,
awesome.
I mean, I was already sold on the company, obviously, because I'm here, but I was like, this is the company for me. Like, I love everyone here, and everyone's like really great, and we joked around a lot, and it was really funny, and
that's awesome.
got to
That's what I'm
bond.
hoping will happen like when we like get together for like our 3D concert stuff. I hope that we can all just like hang out and like you know, like finally like meet in person. It'll be so nice. Yeah, I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
Do you have a timeline yet of when that's happening?
The live concert will be in February.
Exciting.
Yeah, super exciting.
Are you going to Japan then?
I believe so. We're still like talking about all the logistics of everything. There's a lot going on right now, so but I think so. Yeah, we all want to meet up for sure.
Oh my god, that's so exciting. In person, I've only met one of my gen mates so far, and it honestly, making new friends is always hard. I'm really shy, so I have a hard time doing that. But luckily, you know, as you guys know, like Luffy and I are very close, and twins were on hiatus, so I didn't get to talk to them too much. But with Luffy, I was able to get close to her, and when I was in Korea, we got to meet up too, and that was really nice as well. And I hope I can get along with Gen 2. I'm like really nervous. I hope I'm sure they'll all be nice, but I hope I'm not awkward.
Be nice to your senpai. slide into Leora's DMs.
Yeah, slide into my DMs. Future Kauai, please. Be my friend. But yes, thank you for the question. Next we have from Sil Ardens. Thank you for the question. We have, hello, what are the biggest differences between independent VTuber and corporate VTuber content making? What restrictions are in place? Do you need absolutely everything approved beforehand? I think we answered most of that question before.
Yeah.
But in terms of things getting approved, like, do you guys have to get all of your videos and stuff? Like, if you upload shorts
we
and
just
stuff?
post whatever we want, pretty much, yeah.
I know some companies, especially the bigger corporate entities, I've heard that you do need approval for every video that you upload. For VNU, they generally trust us with everything that we do, but I usually send like certain things beforehand. Like if it's like clips, I don't really get approval because like I don't feel like it's really important to, because they've already seen the, you know, whatever clips that, you know, they've already seen the videos live, so I don't think they need approval. I get approval for stuff like, oh, I'm gonna be doing a stream like this, I'll tell them, but they generally trust me. Staff trust me a lot, so they let me do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any like Twitch content, or sorry, not Twitch, Twitter content stuff that you need to get approved at all?
No, we're just like, there's like, yeah, you should like tweet, use Twitter, and we're like, okay, and then I use Twitter kind of a lot sometimes.
That's good. It's marketing, free marketing.
I'll just like, oh, I've had a single thought. Let me post that on twitter.com.
Yeah, that was me today too. Cool. Thank you for the question. Next question we have is from Yammers. Do you have any advice on zatsudaning? Whenever you do a zatsudan, you're always able to find new topics to talk about. What is your strategy for that? Thank you for the question. I would say for me personally with zatsudans, I literally, it's like stream of consciousness. I just say whatever comes to my brain. I'm not really good at thinking ahead of time.
Me too. Yeah.
But I have had like shower thoughts or stuff where I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this on stream, and as soon as I get out of the shower, I'll like make a note on my phone or something, and then I'll like put it on like a post-it and try to remember to talk about it. But 90% of the time, I don't actually read the post-it, and then I don't talk about it on stream.
You should just have one stream where you just go through all your post-its.
And it's just like I'm like reading it. I'm like, what was this about again? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just kind of like word vomit. I'll just like start talking, and then like someone will see someone in chat, and it'll be like, ping, like it makes me think of something. I talk about that. Sometimes I'll just like talk about like what I did today. I'll talk about like dreams a lot because I just have like a lot of weird dreams. Or like if something weird happened, I'm like, you'll never believe this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I also just rant about like my like 90-day fiance story. So I'll be like,
oh
you
my
won't
God.
believe what this girl did on this show. It's just like anything that was relevant to my day, I'm like, you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah,
and you're gonna listen.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the same way. I'll talk about like, you know, oh, I had to touch grass yesterday, I did this, and then or I'll talk about like the anime that I was watching, I'll rant about it, or I'll talk about like good things I liked about it, or a new song that I discovered, or whatever it is. I'll just talk about whatever comes to mind. And if you particularly are not good at doing that, if you're not good at having that flow of stream of consciousness, I do recommend making a post-it note and like writing down things as you think of them during like throughout your day and throughout your life. Like you're like, you know, I don't know. I was watching somebody earlier play dogs stacked or organized neatly. Do you know that game?
Yeah. Cats organized neatly.
There's like a dog version.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, you should play it.
I have the cat one. I don't have the dog one.
Yeah, there's a dog one. You should get the dog one. Yeah. But I was watching somebody play that earlier, and I was like thinking like, oh, maybe I can like ask chat about like their favorite dog types, or like what kind of like if they've ever had a dog growing up, and like, you know, what kind of animal they wanted growing up, like all of those kind of random things that come up. Once you start doing it, you kind of get used to forming questions for chat or for yourself that you can like talk about on stream. But it does take a while to get used to because it is hard to keep talking by yourself.
Yeah. I'd say a good like kind of like gateway, like if you're really nervous about a chatting stream, is try like a little marshmallow stream, like read a question, then like talk about it for a while. Like you're obviously not gonna always have those questions on stream, but just like get comfortable like talking, and like if you like, you know, maybe you'll spend like 15 minutes on one question because it just reminds you something, you talk about it. So like that can help you get comfortable with it too. Yeah,
that's a really, really good idea actually. And another piece of advice, I know I keep coming back to this piece of advice, is watching a lot of other Zatsudan streams. So if you watch other Zatsudan streams, you can kind of see what kind of tangents they make, and then like maybe they'll bring up a topic, like maybe somebody you were watching were talking about their favorite fruits, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, what's my favorite fruit? Or like, I wonder what chat's favorite fruit is. And then you just start talking about fruits, and you might start talking about like, did you know like hitting watermelons, and if it sounds hollow means that it's tastier, you know, so random shit like that. And then you could kind of go off and go into tangents and whatnot.
Then maybe you're really passionate about it. You make a whole fruit tier list and talk about why this fruit is the worst and this fruit is the best.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it starts. You just need like a little seed from somewhere. And like she said, it's obviously a lot easier if you have a more active chat. So thank you to all the chatters out there who you know, make really nice comments or fun comments or bring up fun topics. We do really appreciate it. We would be at a loss if nobody was chatting.
I'd be so sad. I remember one time my chat froze and I was like, are they ignoring me?
Oh no. If my chat is like not moving for more than like a full minute, I literally start like panicking. I'm like, is it frozen? Did I do something wrong? Is nobody watching my stream? Yeah, so that is yeah, am I muted? That's the other one.
I had a problem with that yesterday.
Oh no.
You were for like 5 minutes.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. I thought you were just in the zone. I was like, oh,
I
she's
knocked
in
the
the
like
zone.
little button on my audio interface and it wasn't powering my mic.
Oh no.
I was just talking away. I was like, oh, no one heard me.
Okay, thank you for the question. Next question, we have still Ardens again within the question. We have thoughts of another question if you have time. One of the audition tweet mentions a training period. Are you allowed to tell us what that was like? Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think we talked about it a bit briefly. I think it will kind of, it's mostly to like get to know each other and also to like kind of build on your lore so you can start thinking about what kind of streams you're gonna do for the first month of your streaming, what kind of streams you're allowed to do for the first month of your streaming, and like, you know, probably figuring out, because in the beginning you want to do a lot of like gen collabs and stuff, so figuring out collab schedules and getting everybody on board, and then like figuring out your strengths and weaknesses. Did you guys do test streams during your training period?
Yeah, we did like a mock debut and like senpai watched and stuff.
Yeah, we did like 4 mock debuts. So you'll be doing like mock debuts, you'll be doing lore building, you'll be doing your cover. If you're doing a cover song, you'll be doing your first cover song. There's a lot to do in that period. So yeah, you'll be very busy. Sorry for the 5,000 questions. No, not at all. Thank you for the question. Next question is from Yammers. We have, how do you approach filling dead air with content? Sometimes when I stream, I feel like I'm not talking or being engaging enough. Thank you for the question. I think this is kind of similar to the Zatsudan stream. I try to like point out things that, like, if I'm playing a game, I try to point out things in the environment, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, like talk to the NPCs. Be like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Like, just like bounce off of whatever's around you, pretty much. Like, just have fun with it, and it will be fun for everyone else, hopefully, as well.
And I think it's okay to like have some dead air. I think being comfortable, like, you're playing a game, you know. Being comfortable with a little bit of dead air is not always a bad thing. I mean, if you're doing a Zatsudan stream and there's dead air, that's a little bit weirder, but if you're playing a game, that's okay. You can just be in the zone. I would suggest also like reading chat, you know. If your chat is moving fast enough, you can read chat to just read it out loud. Just start reading every single chat out loud.
LOL, LOL, LOL.
Yeah. Yeah, basically PogChamp.
Yeah, I feel like especially like with games, like I'm not gonna like be talking up a storm while I'm like trying to beat this Elden Ring boss. Like I have to focus, but like like it's not gonna be like constant stream of words all the time, and that's okay. Just as long as it's like appropriate for whatever you're doing. Yeah.
And you can always talk to yourself too, like, what should I do? Or like, man, like I tried using this before and it didn't work. Like, where am I supposed to go? You know, all of that kind of stuff. Or read the menus, etc., etc. Okay, thank you for the question. Steven Johnson, thank you so much for the super chat. Throwing money at you before I go to sleep is the routine at this point. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Next we have a long list of questions from Disaster Mirror. We're going to start with the first one, which is general streaming questions. We have the first one here is, what are your thoughts on streaming on YouTube? I think the ceiling is higher, but it is much more difficult to get an audience. That's like the most concise way I can talk about it. What do you think, Shi?
I don't know much about it. What I've heard is that YouTube is better for discovery and Twitch is better for concurrent viewers or something. But I don't know if that's true. That's just what I heard. I've never used Twitch, so I don't know. I've only ever used YouTube.
I would say, like, from my like experience and from what I've seen, I think discoverability is actually better on Twitch, and I think concurrent viewers is also better on Twitch, but the ceiling that you can reach on YouTube is much higher, because if you think about it, YouTube is like a normal app that everybody uses, right? Like nobody doesn't watch YouTube. There are many people in the world who do not watch Twitch. So if you become big enough, then your reach is much further on YouTube than on Twitch. So it just depends on your taste. The culture is also very different. So.
Oh, that makes sense.
Next question is, do you keep any sticky notes or other reference materials at the ready when you're streaming? I just mentioned that. I do, but I don't use them. Do you have sticky notes at all?
I do not right now. I'll only ever use like papers if I need it for like a game. Like I need to draw out this like map, or I need to make notes on how to like I did this. I had like 5 sheets of paper out at one point because I was trying to speed run what's it called? Closing shift.
Oh
it's
my
like coffee
God.
like horror. And I had to remember a bunch of recipes, and I was like, I'm gonna have them here in case I forget. I had like a spreadsheet like
oh my God.
Computer. But typically no, unless I need it for a game. I don't really like keep many notes. I'm pretty bad with lists actually, so I don't do that a lot.
I've heard a lot of people who do use them. I just I don't remember to use them even though I make them. Another question here is, do you go into your streams with little side quests in mind? Side quests? I'm not sure what you mean about that. What do you make from that, Shi?
Like, the stream is about this, but I also need to do this while I'm on stream, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't really, unless I have like a little tiny announcement or something. Not really, yeah.
Oh, and then sometimes I forget to do that too.
Yeah.
I'll end the stream, I'm like, oh shit, I was supposed to make an announcement! I've definitely done that before. Another question here is, how much time do you spend reviewing your VODs? What do you look out for when you're reviewing yourself? Oh, I hate watching VODs.
Yeah, I unless I'm going back looking for something specific, like what happened here or something, like if I need to go back for whatever reason to look at something or check something, I don't watch them. I do not watch them.
I hate my VODs. I hate listening to myself. I like cringe at myself.
Yeah.
But I will check, especially if I've changed like a sound setting or something recently. I will check just to check the sound levels and stuff to make sure it's good. But I usually won't watch more than like 5 minutes of any stream of my own. Another question here is, I've watched tons of streams in the past 10 years, and what I've gathered is that if something doesn't feel fun on stream, then that's all you need to do to drop it. Do you have anything to add on to that? I've had games where it's not been fun for me, but I still play it because chat really likes it for whatever reason, and I feel like I owe them to finish the game. So I have had instances like that, but usually if I'm like just really not having it, I'll completely drop the game. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else on that, She?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I typically choose games I enjoy, but there's been times where like this game's just like boring and I don't want to finish it, and I don't.
Yeah.
But typically I enjoy the game, but if I don't, like, I'm not like I have to. Yeah.
I think if you don't enjoy the game that you're streaming, it's like you don't look forward to streaming, and that's like really bad because your energy from the get-go is gonna be lower then, and nothing good can come from that, you know?
Yeah. Like there's been times where like I play a lot of like really intense like horror and stuff, and there's been times where like I'm just like exhausted and I just cannot handle it right now. I'm like, let's play. We're just gonna like switch it up for today. Like I need to do something else. But yeah. Because you want to make sure you're having a good time so that everyone else is having a good time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I hope that answered your questions. Thank you for the questions. I will come back to your other questions since we have a long list here. We have from Type 2B, we have, what are the most important traits for a VTuber to have? And what recent trends do you think are important for VTubers to pay attention to right now? Thank you for the questions. Number one, we have, what are the most important traits for a VTuber to have?
I think we kind of talked about it already. Just like you gotta be able to talk.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talking.
It is a lot of talking, and it's a lot of commitment, like we talked about. Whether you're indie, whether you're corporate, just you have to keep streaming if you want to be successful in it. You have to have that consistency and persistence to stream even when you have a bad stream, even when you have 0 viewers. You have to still pull through tomorrow and stream again, and think about new content. And I don't know, there's a lot of really important traits I feel like for VTubers to have.
Yeah, that commitment and like dedication is really important though, especially like just like on the logistics side. Like I didn't know this before because I wasn't very knowledgeable at YouTube, but like when I first debuted, like I went on vacation and I did not realize if you don't stream for a week or post anything for a week, YouTube does bad things to your channel. So like you gotta make sure you're like keeping up with it so that YouTube doesn't put you in the garbage can. Yeah.
The algorithm.
Yes, the algorithm. It's so hard to get out once it's thrown you down. Yeah. So you gotta stay on top of your stuff.
Gotta pray to the algorithm gods.
Yeah.
So and sometimes the algorithm is completely unpredictable, so all you can do is keep throwing stuff at it. You have to just be consistent and keep doing it, and eventually, you know, it'll work. But the moment you stop is the moment that everything kind of goes to shit. So
keep going.
And people will lose interest if you're like not, like, you know, streaming for a long time, or if you go on like constant breaks or hiatuses.
Yeah.
The second question was, what recent trends do you think are important for VTubers to pay attention to right now?
Recent trends.
Recent trends.
Can't think of any. I mean, obviously there's trends all the time with like, oh, this game's really popular, this song's really popular, but it's not like vital that you follow that. Like, don't be like, I'm gonna play this game because everyone's playing it even if I don't like it. Like,
right.
I mean, if it's something you like, then try it, but it's not like you have to do what everybody else is doing.
I'm trying to think of something more like big in terms of trends.
Yeah.
Like maybe I would say, I think it's just important to pay attention to trends in general, even if you don't follow them. Just knowing what trends are out there is really important, and trying to like understand why it's trending, and that way you can improve your streams in the future. But I don't know, but I'm also not very good at following trends. Like right now, off the top of my head, I can think of is like Cult of the Lamb is a trending game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so
cute.
yeah, I want to play it too. But that's a trending game, so you know, if you're into like that sort of roguelike game, then maybe you should check it out. Sometimes there are assets that are trending, like different like hand assets or something, and you can like make a little edit of yourself with it to catch up on the trend. Or yeah, I don't know, I can't think of anything else in particular.
Yeah.
But anyway, awareness is key. You don't have to necessarily follow them though. And TCG Cleric asks a question here. What's a behind the scenes issue or problem in the industry that you feel viewers might not know exists at all? Is there a constructive way viewers can help work towards a solution? For example, customers at work are constantly surprised when we have to tell them that there's a paper shortage worldwide, and that's part of the reason why they can't get their copy of Chainsaw Man Volume 1 or whatever they need in 1 to 2 weeks. A constructive solution is patience, understanding, and pre-ordering items. Letting a store know what you would like to see on the shelves helps them know which products to stock, just like engaging in the content you want to see with your favorite VTuber create. That's a really good question. Behind the scenes issues or problems that viewers don't know about. I would say this one is probably not one that you guys don't know about, but the VTuber market is very saturated. It's very saturated, and there's not much that we can do because it doesn't look good. So for example, say that I have a new cover song out and I want to promote it. There's not much I can do myself. But something that could be helpful is like if you guys posted it on like the virtual YouTuber Reddit or something, you know?
Yeah.
Because posting it ourselves doesn't really look good.
Yeah. So promotion all the time. People are gonna be like,
yeah. Yeah. And especially coming from like corporate entities, people really don't like self-promotion. So we tend to avoid that. So any way that you guys can, you know, in your Discord communities or in your Reddit communities, if you see like a clip that you like from us or a new cover song or a stream, the more you can like share that and get the word out and whatnot is probably something that I can think of off the top of my head that would actively help us a lot.
That's a big help.
And actually, I think this is one that people overlook, but writing comments in the VODs is really helpful. Yeah, I think comments in the VODs help the algorithm a lot, actually. So like writing a comment, replying to somebody else's comment, all of that stuff, like we said, algorithm can be really fickle and uncertain, but there are little things like that show YouTube like, oh hey, look, this person is really interesting enough that people are commenting on their video. And YouTube, you know, they're working off of an AI. It's not real people looking at everything, right? So for them, they'll take those little granules of interaction and take that as like this person probably should be promoted more, and that'll probably help us a lot too.
Yeah.
Any other behind the scenes problems? I think what we also mentioned earlier about chatting a lot. If you can, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But the more that you can like chat in a constructive way, that's not like, because you know you get spammers a lot in chat, or like people who are mean or hateful. Just ignoring those people and chatting in like a very positive way really helps the community as a whole.
Yeah, that's really helpful, especially like if you get comments that are like relevant to what you're talking about and maybe like spark something else you can talk about too, like without being off topic. Like that's really nice.
Yeah.
But or just like, I mean, even if you don't comment, just like watching in general is just like a great way to support, you know,
for sure.
Supporting it any way you can.
Yeah.
It's all very much appreciated.
James, thank you so much for the super chat. Well, I didn't ask my question about saturation because I was sure you couldn't touch it. I think you two will be fine, but I worry about later gens. It's always hard, but I do think actually in a way, for some companies, the later gens actually help the earlier gens too, and you know, it's vice versa. It's not just one way necessarily. So I wouldn't worry too much about that yet. And I was going back to kind of like what you can do to help. I think, just telling people, word of mouth is really helpful. Liking the video when it goes live is really helpful. Just any sort of interaction, even if you're not chatting, even if you're busy, just watching the stream unmuted is really helpful. All of that is very, very, very helpful. So, okay. Thank you for the question. Next question is, when it comes to making content, this is from Cups. When it comes to making content, how much of it is your ideas versus staff? Example, covers, merchandise. Do you get to choose the song or have a say in merch products and design? How much say do you guys have in your covers and merchandise?
Our covers are 100% up to us, so long as it is not like adheres to like copyright rules and stuff like that. Merch, we get to decide. They'll be like, what kind of merch do you want, and we'll talk about it, and they'll like kind of like help us figure out exactly what we want to make, how they're gonna make it, and stuff like that. So we get a lot of say. They will like sometimes be like, oh, maybe you can try this. So it's like they'll suggest like, oh, maybe you try this kind of content, but it's never like you need to do this kind of stream. It's always just kind of whatever we want to do.
There is a secondary question here that says, when it comes to commissioning work, do you get to choose who you work with? Oh, my cat it's very hot. I don't know, Trigo, why you're here. Do you get to choose who you work with, or does the company have preferred people? For the former, is it easier to commission bigger names as a corporate VTuber versus independent? We touched on that a little bit earlier. Yeah. But for your merch stuff, were you able to choose like the artists and stuff, or did the company generally choose for you?
I was. Generally, they'll be like, if you have an artist, like send it to us and we'll like contact them and see if we can do it. But if you don't have a preference, then we'll find one for you and ask if you like it.
For your birthday merch, did you choose the artist?
I did. Yeah, I did choose the artist.
Awesome. For me, so far our merch has all been official art, so I did not choose any of the art. So most of it's like done by my mama or was done by Alofi's mama. But in general, when I do covers and stuff, I usually send staff like a list of 30 artists that I want to work with. One time I sent them like 50 artists and none of them could do it. So we have to find somebody who can work in that time frame, the time frame that we want to release the cover. We need to find somebody who is within the budget. We need to find somebody who actually responds to us. So it's really difficult to get the exact artist that you want. So sometimes it takes a while, but sometimes you get lucky and you get like the first person that you ask. But what are the rest of the questions? And the merch products, I have a lot of say because I'm very interested in merch. I'm like a really big fan of merch, so I always ask staff like, can we do this, can we do that? I'd rather have it look like this, or I'd rather have it look like that. Like, can we try making this? How about this? So we go back and forth a lot on merch, and I do get a lot of say in what we make. So that's been really nice and really important to me because I'm a merch fiend. Thank you for the question. Next is from AC Desi. We have, if you start as an indie VTuber and then become a corporate VTuber with a different identity, would that indie identity be phased out in favor of the corporate one? Thank you for the question. I think most contracts, most legally binding contracts from a corporate VTuber company will state that you cannot operate as another VTuber at the same time.
Exclusivity clause. You cannot be like, I'm gonna stream under your company and also on my own. That's not allowed.
Yes. So most corporations will let you like do like, if you want to do face cam streams, or if you want to be like a regular YouTuber, that's fine. But you cannot be another VTuber at the same time. So you have two options. If you are indie, you can either graduate your character and be no more, or you can put them on indefinite hiatus so that you kind of have, if you feel like after this year of trying out this corporate thing, maybe it won't work out for me, then you have your old indie character that you can go back to if you kind of put them on a hiatus instead of graduating them completely. I was trying to find a word alternative to killing.
You have to kill them off.
Murder.
Jump into the volcano.
Yeah, murder, VTuber murder. Yeah. I hope that answered your question. Next question is, do you get dental? No, we don't get insurance.
No.
Isn't it easier to become famous with a big corporation like Hololive? Master, thank you so much for the question. Yes, of course. It is much easier to get bigger with the bigger, however bigger the company is. It's just you have to get in and you have that many more people that you're fighting against in the application process. So that's what you have to consider. As we mentioned, you want to look at the other people that are already at this company, right? So if you're at Kauai, you're going to want to look at Kauai's Gen 1 and Gen 2 talents and look at their, this is taboo, but look at their numbers. Is that something similar to what you want? Is that similar to what you expect? Because you cannot expect that you will be joining them and surpassing them instantly. It's not realistic.
Do not expect Hololive numbers at a small corporation.
No, you're not going to get Hololive numbers. And if you come to VNU, look at my numbers. Look at Lofi's numbers. You are not going to exceed us instantly. Maybe you will exceed us in the future, and that's fine, and that's great. That's awesome. But you're not going to start out with Hololive numbers. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So if you want Hololive numbers, keep trying for Hololive. Is all I got to say. Next question is from Banana Chicken. Given that I'm in the early stages of becoming a VTuber, I would like to know your opinion on my concept. In short, my character is a demon. A lot of my content would revolve around the occult. Do you think that would help me stand out? Thank you for the question. I think we've mentioned it before, but the market is incredibly saturated. There is no VTuber concept that hasn't already been done. I'm sorry. That is just the truth.
There will be other demons. But hey, maybe that'll be fun. Maybe you can make other demon friends, you know?
Yeah. Use it to your advantage.
You don't have to be a brand new, you don't have to be like a completely original idea. Like, I am a coyote astronaut from Mars. Like, it's just gonna be too much. I bet. There are no, like, there are so many VTubers now. You're not gonna be the only one of this exact type of character, but you just gotta make it your own.
Yeah, I think if your question is, will it help you stand out? It will not. But I would suggest that the greatest part about being indie is that you have so much control. Do what you like. Find something a theme that you really resonate with and that you like, because this is, until you go corporate, this is your identity, and this is you get to choose what you are represented as, and that's a lot of power. And you want to love your character, you want to love yourself, right? And be comfortable in streaming. So think of a concept that works, that you love and that you can go a long time with. Don't think about what's going to make you stand out, because nothing is going to make you stand out in today's day and age. Thank you for the question. Encore asks, do you have any games you consider help to develop your Zatsu skills? Thank you for the question. Games for Zatsudan specifically. Ooh, that's a really good question.
I feel like it kind of depends, like, what gets you talking, like what piques your interest.
That's true.
Like, maybe you really like farming games and that gets you into like talking about like all this different stuff, or maybe you like talking about guns so you play FPS games. It kind of depends what your interests are, I think.
Yeah, I think it really does depend. Like, what I would recommend trying a lot of different things. And I think, for example, for me, I found that like certain roguelike type games are really good Zatsu games, because it's easy for me to turn my brain off. Whereas when I play FPS games, I get like really in the zone and I don't talk as much, because I'm just like so focused on shooting or whatever. Yeah, so like for Zatsudan specifically, I found that that's a little bit more helpful.
Yeah, I'm the same way with I can't talk during like, I really like Magic the Gathering, like card games, but I'm so focused on what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm not good at talking during those at all.
Yeah. And I think honestly, like, sorry, my cat is like so hot and he's on my lap. I'm gonna kick him off. It's really not the weather to be sitting on my lap. But yeah, like, I think it just kind of depends on the day sometimes. Like, I'll be playing a random game and my brain is just like going at 100 miles an hour and I can just keep talking no matter what the game actually is. But do you have any games that you found are really good for you for like Zatsudaning?
I don't know. I guess I never thought about it that much. I guess something that doesn't take too much brain power where I have to like think really, really hard, but I don't know. I'll like anything with like interesting characters. I feel like
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
horror games sometimes have like really weird characters I can talk about, or like I don't know. It really depends. Like I don't know. It's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky. That's a hard question. I think there definitely are. They exist. I just like can't think of them off the top of my head because it's like so autopilot. Like I'm not thinking while I'm doing it. It's just happening, you know. Banana Chicken, thank you so much for the super chat. My question was more about the idea of me doing occult stuff as a VTuber actually, but thanks anyway. Like I said, I think it's gonna be hard in the year of our anime god 2022 to stand out in particular by doing anything in particular in VTubing world. So I would say just do what you want to do and what you enjoy doing, and people will follow.
Yeah.
Next question we have from XYZ. We have, when you become a corporate VTuber, do you need to completely delete your previous social media presence and not let your previous fan base know? Thank you for the question. I think it depends on the company. Some companies are more strict about that than others, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. I think for the most part, you're asked to at least private, maybe like a Twitter or something. But it also depends like what you were posting. If you posted like doxing information, then you're gonna have to delete that because people could find it. It kind of like depends.
Yeah.
Exactly what you were doing before, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or if you're posting like extreme political viewpoints and stuff, you're probably gonna have to delete your accounts and stuff like that. And it depends on for you yourself. Irie, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome.
Hello.
Irie Raiders, welcome. We're talking about corporate VTubing. Welcome. But yeah, I think it depends. I think for some people they feel more comfortable because they don't want to be doxxed. To private everything and to delete everything, but maybe you are a face cam streamer and that's what you've always been and you're comfortable being a face cam streamer, but you also want a VTube on the side, then you don't really have a reason to delete all of your old stuff, right? Like it's not like you're hiding the fact that you were a face cam streamer before. So I don't think it's necessarily one way or the other. It's very dependent on your situation and dependent on what your company asks of you too. Thank you for the question. Next we have XYZ asks, do the current gen have a say on the interviews for the next gen? Are you allowed to talk about that? Were you guys able to have a say for Gen 3?
No. No.
Oh, okay.
No, we were. I mean, I don't mean no, I can't answer. I mean, no, we weren't like sitting in on interviews or anything.
Yeah. So you just kind of got to know them once they were already there, right?
Once they were already chosen, then we got to like meet them.
Reno, thank you for 20 gifted memberships. Holy moly, thank you so much. Thank you. Please welcome all of the new members and show some love to Reno as well. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Also, I heard, did you know this, She? I learned this recently, but membership gifting is based off of how active those people are on your stream.
Really?
Yeah, so it prioritizes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it prioritizes
cool.
people who were like more frequent visitors of your stream, or press the like button and stuff like that. So that's really cool, or at least that's what YouTube documentation claims.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Thank you so much. But yes, for VNU, I mean, our auditions are still ongoing. We are not gonna be involved in all of the process, but I believe we're gonna be able to like see the final candidates, like the very end, maybe. But I'm not sure. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Next question we have is from Choco Milk Tea. We have, how do indie VTubers reach out to corporate VTubers for collab and vice versa? Thank you so much for the question. I think it's really dependent on the company too. Some companies are more open to collabing with indies while others are not. So for example, right now I am not allowed to collab with indies. And I know you can collab with indies, but they have to be approved first, right?
Sort of. Yeah, it's encouraged that we make friends with lots of other, girls and corporations and stuff. Just because, like, they're like fetid in a way, I guess. I was only able to, because these were people, like, I was like, oh, like, they're already my friend, I know them. It wasn't like a random person.
Right.
So I don't know how that would go if I asked to just collab with a random person. I've never done that. Yeah.
I think in terms of reaching out, it's like what we were mentioning before, where you do have to think about the size, right? If you are an indie VTuber that's pulling good numbers or similar numbers to a corporate VTuber, and you reach out to them and you follow them and they follow you back and you become friends, you're much more likely to be able to collab with them than if you're like reaching out to a VTuber that has 5 million subscribers. Like, they're not going to give you the time of day, right? Whether you're indie or corporate. So you just have to keep that in mind and be realistic about that. We're gonna go back down for a couple more questions here. We have prospective corporate questions from Disaster Mirror. We have, if someone plans on starting indie, what are some do's and don'ts to keep the door to corporate transfer open? Oh, that's a good question. Like, particularly.
Yeah. I mean, I think some big don'ts are don't give yourself any red flags. Don't go posting like controversial things. Don't be involved in Twitter drama.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody seems crazy, like, also be like very careful about who you collab with.
Yeah.
Make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that maybe have a similar goal or like a certain level of professionalism to where like they're not gonna go say something absolutely crazy on your stream. Just like putting yourself in a good light where you come off as like professional and trustworthy if you were to like apply later on. That's
super true. That's a really good piece of advice. I feel like a lot of people, when they're indie, they're like, yeah, I have free reign to do whatever, and they'll post like crazy stuff or be involved in like crazy drama and stuff. And you have to realize that if you're planning on going corporate, they're going to look at your Twitter. They're going to look at, they're gonna look up your name and find anything that they can just to make sure that you're not a crazy person. And if you've done anything to hint to them that you may potentially be a crazy person, even if you're not a crazy person, they will immediately take the red flag and not consider you at all.
Yeah.
Or if you're associated with a really problematic person in the community and you're like really good friends with somebody who's very problematic, the chances of you getting hired is going to be much less. It's just like I said, it's like real work, right? Like, if you're applying for a job, a really good job, and you've been writing all this crap on your public Twitter about like how much you hate working and how much you hate everyone around you, then your potential new company is probably not going to want to hire you. And especially because Twitter in this case is a part of your job, right? Being on social media is a part of your job, so you don't want to post anything that would hurt your chances in the future. Stay professional. Yeah. What are flags to look out for or tell if a company is sussy? Watch a lot of their talent streams.
Yeah.
Look at the history. Like, has that company had graduations before? Why? How was the reaction to those graduations? What did people say about the graduations? What is the truth of why the people graduated? How did the other talents react to the graduation? I think those are all really important factors to look at if you're being careful of a black company. And just watch a lot of their streams and see because people will talk about their management a lot more than you expect. They'll talk about management a lot throughout their streams, and you will kind of get a glimpse at what what kind of culture that they have there. And also just seeing what kind of streamers are there. Like, how do the streamers interact with each other? Are they good friends with each other? Do they seem nice? Do they seem like nice people? Then, there's that saying where it's like, if all the workers are really shitty at like a restaurant or like at a retail place, then it probably means that their boss is really shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and read the contract, legally binding contract.
Yes, legally binding contract. Read it. Read and abide.
And if you think there's anything weird in the contract, tell the company. And if and if they're like not okay with changing it, then fuck them. Get out of there.
Yep. Make sure it seems fair. If you have any questions, clarify. And, you know, see if they'll be receptive of you asking questions.
Yeah. Next question is, do you get to interact with your talent manager before you get hired? If so, what are good and bad qualities to look out in them? Ooh, interesting.
Like management in general?
I guess like your direct manager maybe.
Well, I did meet the management was at my my interviews and stuff, and like we like emailed back and forth. But we don't have like public managers, like they like have their own like streams or anything, so there's like I guess only so much interaction you get beforehand. But I feel like, you know, you can still kind of like read, you can get a feel for people, I think, like especially like while you're talking during interviews and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like I mentioned before, that was like one of the reasons why I was sold on VNU too, was like kind of the vibe that I got from the people that were working there. Obviously, like our company has kind of come a bit of a way since when I first was interviewed. Like we hired up a lot since then, and we have a lot of different staff than we did before. So I actually didn't meet my direct manager until kind of much later into the process. So it can be kind of different based on where you're applying and when you're applying and how you're applying too. But always be on the lookout for red flags, because black companies, VNU and Kauai are not black companies, but they do exist. They do exist and they're out there.
I've heard horror stories.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of horror stories.
Yeah.
Be careful.
So don't just go, oh, corporate, and just like jump in. Like make sure you know what you're getting into, and that you're looking out for yourself.
And if it sounds too good, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably not true. Yeah. So be careful. Okay, next set of questions, and then we have like 2 more sets, and then we're gonna be done. We have another one is from Disaster Mirror. We have, do you have to pitch your stream activities ideas to staff? What's that process like? I just give them my schedule, and then they'll ask me questions about it.
Yeah, we'll like post a weekly schedule just because they post a weekly schedule, but they don't really ask me when I'm gonna stream. Like, we'll talk about, maybe I have an idea, or like I'll be like, oh, do you have any suggestions for like how I edit this or something? But not all the time. It's only if I have like a very specific thing I want to do that I like want advice or assistance on.
Gotcha.
I know I'm Robo.
Yeah, you're Robo, but I understood most of it. It might be that time of night, because we had a really good run so far.
Yeah, it's just like 2 hours late if it is.
Bot breaking down. You sound really... It's amazing. You actually sound like a robot when you do that. Oh, I think you're back.
Oh?
Say something.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back. Okay, cool.
Robo, she is no more.
Next is, how bad is it in your work if you show up late a lot and making schedules? How early in advance is it recommend to cancel a stream?
We try to make our schedule at the beginning of the week every week. It doesn't necessarily always happen.
Okay? You're muted.
Sorry, 1 second. My brother needs something.
Yeah, no worries. Oh god. She's brother debut. Today is She's brother's debut. Welcome. He's gonna be in Gen 3.
I borrowed his Mario Kart and he's trying to find it.
Gen 3. Gen 3 of Project Kauai. Look out for BB-cho. BB for Big Bro. Give him his wheels back.
Okay, sorry. He was like, you took my Mario Kart. And I was like, yeah, I don't know where it is though. I wonder if it's... Wait, is this it? No, it's empty. Oh god, I don't know where it is. It'll be okay, I'll find it.
He can play.
I don't remember what I was saying.
He can play something else for now.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Chat asks if he's single though.
Gonna try to get it, Paw Patrol.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Oh, stream schedules and stuff. You said you guys usually do like the beginning of the week, right?
Yeah, good, but just like management posts like a group schedule on their official account, so they'll be like, "Hey, can we have your schedule?" So they can like put it all together. Obviously, like if there's a special circumstance, like my first week of like my new job, I was like, I don't know my schedule. I'm not gonna have one. They'll be like, "Yeah, that's okay." But yeah, we try to keep on top of it.
Right. I think for us, we have to post our schedule like the Thursday before because we do get most of our thumbnails made by staff. So I sometimes make my own thumbnails, like this thumbnail I made myself. I make all the gorilla thumbnails myself, and occasionally I will thumbnail here and there. But most of the time, staff will make them for us, and that's why we have to get them to them pretty far in advance. And how bad is it if you show up to work late? I miss a lot of meetings. I accidentally show up like late to meetings all the time, but because I just forget that I have meetings. But I don't think I've been. Oh no!
One time, yeah.
But I don't think I've been like too late to any streams. Just like a little bit late, like because of technical difficulties or I'm coming home late. I'll like post on Twitter usually if I'm late.
Yeah.
But if you're consistently late all the time, that's probably a problem, and you will probably get talked to.
Also, just kind of issue for like if you're always like 30 minutes to an hour late to your stream and your viewers are just waiting there like like waiting for you. That's not good.
Yeah.
At least like make a little announcement like, I'm sorry, we're gonna start at this time.
Yeah. I think if you it's like you have to treat it like real work, right? So if you're late to work every single day, like your boss is not gonna be okay with it. And just like that, if you're late to stream every day or if you're late to your meetings every day, you just cannot. You will get talked to, and that could be considered breaking contract eventually too. So read your contract.
Yes, your legally binding contract.
Your legally binding contract. Read it. How early in advance is it recommended to cancel a stream? It just depends on why you have to cancel it. Sometimes you literally have no choice but to cancel it an hour before stream, and that's just how it is because life happens sometimes, and you cannot control when life is gonna happen. So, yeah. I don't know. Do you guys have like you must cancel stream before like 24 hours before ahead of time or something?
No, we don't have anything like that. Like sometimes life happens and you're just like, I'm so sorry, we can't do it tonight, or like you start feeling sick or something. I'd say the only thing like I would really want to like try to do ahead of time, which I haven't had to do, but like if it was like a collab or something, I'd like really want to do it ahead of time if I could. But sometimes it can't be helped if someone just like gets on migraine or something like. Yeah, that makes sense. And you don't want to like have a collab with a migraine because then no one's gonna have fun. Yeah. Sometimes it can't be helped.
Yeah. And then last little list of questions here we have. What would you say is the next step after your contract is over? Is it a graduation or a renewal? If graduation, would the VTuber move on to a new company? Bina, thank you so much for the question. I would say that it's more like first of all, it depends. Why are you graduating? Why are you graduating? That's one question. But if you normally, most companies or most contracts after the end of once the contract ending period is approaching, you will have a renegotiation of contracts. So either you will extend your contract or append the contract and change it a little bit, or you will say, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and then you guys will terminate the contract together. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything else particular there. But
yeah, that's pretty much how it works. It'll either renew or not, or change. Kind of like depends. That's like it's like the time where it's not necessarily like a contract end. It's like a revisit.
Right.
And decide.
And
together,
maybe you'll like change your terms, or maybe you'll change like certain conditions and stuff, because after a year or whatever, things change, right? So the conditions of other things might have changed too. So that it kind of just depends on your contract that is legally binding that you have read. But for the graduation, would the VTuber move on to a new company? I mean, that depends on your situation, right? Are you graduating because you got into a new company that you like better? Are you graduating because you don't want to stream anymore? Like, are you graduating because you just want to go indie? Like, those are all possibilities. So, yeah, it's just case by case there. Next question here is, if your audition video was a bit nervous, then does staff and management take into account your VODs as well and look at your socials? I would say that you should do many takes so that you are not nervous.
Yeah.
I think if your audition video is really bad, they're not going to spend their time looking at your VODs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your audition video is their first impression of you.
Yeah, and not every application has a section for like clips or anything. Like, and if you don't have a good video, if you don't like catch their interest, then they're not going to take the time to look you up because they have a million applications to look over, you know?
Yeah.
So you really want to put your best foot forward and do well enough that they'll want to look into your other stuff too.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes like a million takes to get the correct take, but I think having a polished audition video shows your dedication too, because nobody has a perfect audition video in their first pass, right? So if you have a really good audition video, even the company will recognize like, wow, they really put a lot of effort into their audition video. I can tell because it's so like nice and polished and they're not nervous and stuff, and then they'll give you a chance even if there's like weird stuff in your audition video, you know?
Yeah.
And last two questions. We have one that is, are there multiple stages for the audition? What does that look like? Do you know, do you remember what the stages of your audition were? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Typically it's, you know, the normal audition you send in, and then they'll contact you about doing an interview. And then depending, there could be more than one interview. I only had one, but sometime maybe, depending, like if there's a lot of competition, they need more like time to decide, they might do like a second round of interviews. It kind of depends, and then they'll get back to you about that.
And then
usually like
after
they won't
that,
get
it's like
back
you're
to you
in or
unless
not?
it's like in usually like you don't expect anything back from your like the thing you just send in, because they just don't have the time to reply to everybody.
Right.
But once you get into like the interview stage, they will let you know either way.
Right. I think for me it was a little bit weird because it was VNU's first audition, so I actually didn't have to do an audition video, but I did have to send them VODs and my like, you know, whatever clips and links and all that stuff. And then we got into a interview. I did one interview, then I did another interview, and then we had like contract negotiation period for a while. And then we signed the contract, and then I was in. Does the interview require face cam? Yes. The interview does require face cam.
For Kauai, it did not, but I did anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it depends on the company. I don't think everyone did, but I don't know. I feel like it made me more personable. So.
I will say this though, because this has been an issue that has happened before, from what I've heard, is that you will have to reveal your real identity to the company, because that is part of the legally binding contract. They cannot legally bind a contract to a persona. They must bind it to a person, a real person with a real social security number, and they will ask for your actual social security number because that is what a real company does. Yes. So, and if you are not comfortable with ever showing your face, you need to reconsider, because if the company wants to do something like a 3D concert, you're gonna have to show up.
Yeah, you will have to be there.
You have to be there in person. So if you're not comfortable with showing your face to your gen mates, to your staff, then you probably should reconsider applying. Yeah. Please make sure the email you're talking to is actually from the company you're applying to. Yes. Double check, because there have been scams and scammers. So just make sure that you are double checking that everything is correct. Don't send random people your social security number, please. Yeah. And the last question here. I yawn a lot randomly. Does it ever happen to you? And how do you handle sneezes and yawns? Thank you for the question, Hina. I will do my best to hit the mute button before I sneeze and yawn.
I let them rip. I can't. They're setting in strong. I got allergies. Okay. One time I had a really bad one during karaoke. It was a reverb sneeze.
A reverb sneeze. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I do sometimes, if I can't help it, I will, like, if I'm playing like a controller game, a lot of times it's harder for me to mute in the middle, especially if it's something really intense. So then I can't mute myself and I will just sneeze when I can. And I will yawn, but I usually like, oh no, talking about yawning is making me want to yawn. I must control it. But I will yawn like away from my mic, so it's not as bad. Okay, that's it for the questions. Thank you so much for all the questions. That was so many questions.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I hope that was helpful and informational, and hopefully it helped you get a better understanding of whether or not working for a corporation is for you, because it's not for everyone.
Yeah, and that's okay.
That's
Maybe
okay.
You are meant to indie stream, and you will do great at that.
Yes. Being I just want to double check. Being corporate is not for everyone.
Yeah,
it is not for everyone. VTubing is not for everyone. Streaming is not for everyone. And I highly, highly, highly recommend trying it out before you want to invest a year of your life, signing a year of your life away to a corporation. Only apply if you're okay with the off chance of being one with the centipede.
Yes, it could happen. It could happen. When that renegotiation time comes around, they're like, it's next year. It's time for the centipede. Are you in or out?
The VTuber centipede. Oh no! Please don't put that on my art tag. I don't want to see. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Oh god. Oh god. Yes, but good luck on everyone who is applying. I believe there are so I know some of you guys were asking. VNU's auditions currently are only for females, and you do have to be of a certain age. I believe it is 18. Actually, I think VNU requires older. I think it might be 24 for VNU. You do need to meet the age requirement for the audition. The auditions are due in just a couple days, so go ahead and grind out those auditions, and after you audition, if you've never streamed before, go stream like the world depends on it.
Do it now.
Do it now. And then for Kauai, their Gen 3 auditions are already over, but keep your eyes peeled. You never know when Gen 4 is coming.
Yeah. Gen 3 debut in 10 days.
In 10 days? Oh my god, that's so exciting.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. And I believe if you're interested in other VTuber auditions, there's actually a couple more out there. I believe Irie, who rated us, Face Connect, I believe they're doing auditions right now as well. So if you're interested, you can check out Face Connect's auditions. I'm gonna name drop here, but I believe Niji Sanji is also doing auditions currently, particularly for male VTubers. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about male VTubers and if VNU will be having male VTubers. Currently the plan is no, so go audition for Niji Sanji's male VTubers, because they're taking in male VTubers there. And I believe HoloLive also has open auditions year round. So
I think Prism may as well. I'm not sure. Not year round, but I don't know if there's ended. Don't take me on that. I know they did it though recently. If they
I think maybe it was Prism and not FaZe. I don't know. I might be getting it confused. One of them has auditions right now, so go check it out.
Look around.
Yeah, go look around. Yeah, Hollow Stars has auditions. It's, don't limit yourself, but also there's so many places you can audition. Make sure you scope it out and make sure it's somewhere that you actually want to be. Make sure the people that are there are people you want to stream with and that you want to be friends with, because you're going to be stuck with them for the rest of your lives. So yeah. Okay. Yay! Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah, it was super fun. I hope it helped you guys, and thank you, She, for showing up last minute.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Deal with me 2 days in a row. Let's go.
No, I love it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I love collabing with you.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully we can do some more soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Lee Otsu and She Otsu. Have a good rest of your day or good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.